What's going on, Internet? The Black Flag here, aka TBH, and to be honest, I'd like to welcome everybody back to the Game Illuminaughty podcast. We are the Enlightened Gamers, and you're now tuned in to episode 187. If you're watching the video version of the show at youtube.com/GI updates, know this show's available on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, and all other major podcast platforms. If you're watching on Apple or Spotify, be sure to rate the show 5 stars. We need that rating to help bring in new listeners. And if you're watching on YouTube, please hit the like button, and then after the like button, hit the hype button. When you hit that hype button, that helps us appear on the hype charts, which also helps bring in new viewers on YouTube at youtube.com/GI updates, which is the world's best weekly gaming podcast. If you enjoy social media, follow us there. We drop daily content on our pages. We're available on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Discord, and Facebook. Our handle on most platforms is at GI updates. The exception being Facebook. It's facebook.com/GI podcast. Links to all our social media platforms will be in the description box below at youtube.com/GI updates. Now, without further ado, allow me to I am the host. Allow me to introduce you to my co-hosts, the first of which is getting exposed in the playoffs. They were regular season demons, but it turns out all they need to do to beat the demons is a little Orlando magic. Ethos, say what up to the people.
How are your Wizards doing?
They suck. Wait, why do y'all even
I don't want to hear silence. You're not in the playoffs. Thank you. Next person. Go ahead.
Number one all season.
How about somebody who also is in the playoffs? Go ahead, JJ.
I'd argue you and the Wizards are on the same playing field.
No.
I'd rather be trash all year than number one just to get bounced out the first round by the Orlando Magic.
Because you said before, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. Cade is injured. His lung collapsed. Now he's back. So you was wrong about that. So when we beat them, the Orlando Magic, and then we make it to the next round, then what will your excuse be?
Doesn't matter. You're not beating the Celtics.
Yeah, see, here we go. Another example. Another. It'll be another.
Do you honestly believe you're going to beat the Celtics?
Yes. I believe in Detroit friendship.
And my second co-host says it doesn't matter how old he is. He could be 37 or 67. If he sees corny shit online, he's going to call it out. UTX, call out the Don. Say what up to the people.
Yeah, it's very weird how people are acting on the internet. I know these people don't know me, may not be familiar, but I feel like people are gasping for straws now, just because they're feeling like offended. Like I have gone to the point, and I've seen this on the podcast comments too. People are like attacking my hairline now, thinking that it's fake. I'm like, just because my barber, and I'm gonna shout out my barber in a second, just because my barber makes my shit crispy and I still have a hairline, niggas are like trying to like just find something, like be a man and make fun of my head size like TBH has been doing for all these years. Don't come at the hairline. It just seems like you're jealous. You're jealous because you can't find anything. I'm sorry, man. If you're offended because I talk about your precious savior Drake, or I talk about the ball and gun gamers, man, all this shit is corny. Y'all look corny, and somebody got to point it out. So take it from an OG like myself. Stop doing corny shit online. If nobody else gonna tell you, I'm gonna tell you.
I fully expect at least 1/3 of the comments on this week's podcast to be about your hairline and about how niggas fuck more bitches and drive faster cars than all of us now because of you.
Who do you piss off?
I'm married. I've been out the game for so long. Like none of that stuff even matters. Like people trying to call me an incel. I'm like,
I'm sorry, I missed this. Who did JG piss off?
I don't know. I just seen him on Twitter. He tweeted that shit. That's where I be getting it from. Who did you piss off before we get into this show?
It was the Drake stands this time because I was pointing out how corny they were acting with the ice in Toronto. Yeah. I'm like, nah, bro. I'm like, I don't care. You can like what you like, but y'all are doing some weird stuff. I'm sorry. The youth is on some weird stuff.
Have it. They've been going through hell for the past 3 years. You got to let them have their little.
I'm pointing out, bro, and they just keep rehashing the same points every single time.
I did see a video when he stacked all the ice, and after they revealed the release date of the Iceman album, the ice was still there. It wasn't even like 80% melted, and apparently like some homeless people were sitting on it shooting up dope. And like people were just, it was a video on TikTok, and like you saw it, Jay, and like people were just recording and laughing, and I'm like, this is like sad and weird. Like maybe I'm getting old, but I'm like, this is not like a spectacle. Like I don't get it, man. Like they were just sitting on top of the ice mountain shooting up dope, and they thought it was the funniest thing ever. That I was like, yeah, that's kind of corny and weird, but
they look at ice. They had the sledgehammers out, the blow torches. They were doing a lot, man. I'm just saying,
I don't know if that ice is still there. Bro. If it is, before you lick it, just know dope fiends was shooting up and shitting all over that stuff, bro, guys. But that has nothing to do with gaming. So let's draw it back. Let's talk some gaming. This week, no new games had came out, but some interesting topics did come up. Ethos dropped this one in the group chat. So I wanted to hear his take on this because he said this would be good for the podcast. Now, I'm not going to play the audio because it's 60 seconds and they're not going to be able to hear it. You guys would be, but they wouldn't be to hear it, but they saw the video. So I'm just going to break down what actually happened. This is a video from PC Gamer they posted on their socials where they were asking, I guess, random people at this event their gaming hot take. And this woman right here basically said that competitive gamers are not real gamers. Then she went on to elaborate and said, basically, if all you play is Call of Duty, 2K, Madden, FIFA, Fortnite, you know, ball and gun games. She doesn't want to hear your opinion on games like strategy games, RPGs, and racing, whatever else in between, especially like around award season and stuff like that. Before I toss it to you, for me, I don't know why Ethos thought this was like a crazy topic.
You're mixing her words because she didn't say that exactly.
Oh, go ahead. What
she was
wrong?
Specifically for she said competitive like FPS shooters, like people who play competitive games, like very hardcore competitive games. They aren't necessarily hard or like real gamers in regards to like if all you play is like Valorant ranked. Like League of Legends, right? Like hardcore, like ranked, competitive, statured style, like first person shooters that you shouldn't technically have she like what you said. She was being facetious on the whole, like you're not a real gamer, but she clarified to be more of like, well, you shouldn't be in the conversation talking about other games that are like really not in that circle that you really focus on.
Is that not pretty much? I mean,
no, because he said ball and gun gamers. She didn't bring up 2K. You ain't got to install 2K players. Come on now.
Yeah, but you could throw them in there because the 2K does fall under the. She was pretty much talking about ball and gun. I get where you're going. It was a little bit more nuanced, but she was pretty much talking about ball and gun games. You could throw 2K in there.
I think there's a difference between what I feel is like a ball and gun gamer who's just casually playing Call of Duty than like a hardcore.
Specifically, somebody who plays like ranked and shit.
Because I wouldn't say a ball and gun gamer is the same as someone who is a Valorant gamer that all they play day in and day out is Valorant competitive, and that is like their bread and butter. That's all they play. Like
my bad. Hardcore ball and gun gamers. Jay, how do you feel about this topic?
Yeah, I'm kind of on the same end of the spectrum as you, TBH. I feel like this is just a variant of the ball and gun gamer conversation, but yeah, this one is specialized towards the competitive, hardcore, like esports type of gamer. And she's right. I mean, like I said, we've been talking about this. We broke it down in so many different ways. I also don't agree that it's not as much of a hot take, but I think one is coming from a girl, so you already know they gonna just crap on her regardless. They go like, "Oh, girl said that she grabbing on that." So that's one thing. And two, I just think it's just because of like how she said it. She specialized it towards the more competitive gamers. But yeah, I mean, it's the same thing. Like if you locked in on one particular ball and gun game and you're playing it competitively, you're playing it professionally, you're playing in esports or whatever, and you have the nerve to try to talk about another game that you have no idea about when it comes towards awards time, then yeah, I feel like you're not a real gamer as well. Like we have a category for you and that's okay, but I would not consider those type of people in our definition a real gamer, because you're just locked in on one particular type of game and that's all that you do, which is fine. You can play it, but I don't think that you have the knowledge to hop in on some of the other conversations surrounding games that you typically don't play and don't know anything about.
I feel like what she said in the beginning, she did clarify and give a more nuanced answer, but the opening answer was you're not a real gamer, and then she laughed before she cleaned it up. And me personally, a PhD in comedy, jokes are half truths. I feel like that's how she generally feels, but you got to give a more politically correct answer because you don't want to piss people off on the internet. I wouldn't go as far as to say people who only play 2K or like Call of Duty are not real gamers. I would just say they're hardcore casuals because I'm not. You said what? Go ahead.
What if this was on the other foot? What if this was like a hardcore person that only plays like a certain RPG? Let's say if there was a person that only played Baldur's Gate 3 the year that it came out and didn't play anything else, would they still be considered a real gamer?
What's the rest of their background? Is it Baldur's Gate 3 the only game they've ever played?
The same scenario. Let's just say it's Switch. So instead of it being like a hardcore, like what she said, like hardcore shooter,
that's a good question, actually.
Is there a discrimination just because of they're only playing like a 2K, like let's say it was like same thing, hardcore 2K player, but let's put it on the other foot and say this person only played, let's say if it was the game of the year, let's say they only played Expedition, or let's say they only played Silksong and they played hardcore, they put 300 hours, but that was the only game that they really played. Would you call them a real gamer?
Well, it depends because I don't feel like those people that you're describing are on social media bitching about what did and didn't win. So it's like
I'm saying hypothetically, let's say they were. Well, you could say there were some Silk Song people.
There was some, Silk Song was.
That's the exception. I give you that.
Yeah, that we're going online, getting mad at other games, we're getting awards.
I would still say personally, yes, because again, the distinction between like just a regular, casual gamer and someone who would come online and talk about their discourse and try to put the agenda on their favorite game or their favorite genre. I still feel like you're still being ignorant. It doesn't matter what genre that you're into. Like a cozy gamer could do the same thing. A person who only plays gacha games, it could be the same thing. So, like I said, we just shit on the ball and gun gamers because they have been the most vocal. And I feel like a lot of the games that they play, first of all, they're either annual releases or games that have been out for at least like 5 to 10 years. So that's a whole different conversation. So they're in a whole different bucket here. But I feel like this could be applied across the board. If you only play one genre or one type of game and that's all that you play, fine. I don't care how many hours you put into it. But if you decide to come online and start talking about things that you don't know and start trying to fuel your agenda, then yeah, I also would consider you not a real gamer.
What if they go online? What if they don't go online, but that's all they play? Would you still qualify them as a real gamer?
Again, it depends on your knowledge. Like, what's your background? Like, they go back to what T-Bag is saying. What is your background? It's fine if you're playing that one game or that genre of game, but have you ever played anything else, or is that the only thing that you play? If that's the only thing that you play and that's the only thing that you know and you don't know about anything else, you never go outside your bubble, like to play any other genre, like ever, then no, I don't consider you a real gamer.
Because so I'm leaning towards, if they only played something hardcore like Baldur's Gate 3, I would be more inclined to give them the gamer card versus not, for like a couple reasons. I think like I can use like a real world analogy. Like if you throw a kid into the kiddie side of the pool versus throwing them into the deep end, one's going to learn how to swim and one's not. If you throw them into the deep end with Baldur's Gate, I feel like the skills that you learn in that game translate way over better. Matter of fact, I was watching a video earlier today where this guy was clowning on this one dude because he was bitching and saying that Invincible Versus is a trash game that was way too hard to learn how to play. And he said that he didn't want to hear that he was trash at fighting games because he plays Injustice a lot. And the dude in the video was like, Injustice is one of the most kiddie-ass fighting games you could play because most of it is just zoning. And I thought about that and I was like, yeah, I think because my background is more in Street Fighter, Tekken, Soul Calibur, those skills translate way. I can pick up Invincible. Day 2, I was doing 30-hit combos. So like if you're playing Baldur's Gate 3, a game with a lot of different moving pieces and systems, I'm sorry, you probably do have the IQ to pick up and play 2K, but not in reverse. 2K is a very easy game to pick up. So I would lean more towards, yeah, I'd probably say there probably are more of a gamer just because it does take more depth to learn those type of games. What do y'all think about that thought?
I can halfway agree with it, but I'm still sticking to my stance. If you're just stuck in that one genre and you literally don't go outside it, you don't really know anything outside of what you like, then I can't really consider you a real gamer. But like I said, it really gets to, if you go online trying to act like you're knowledgeable about something else, but you don't play those games or you don't research those games, you really know nothing about it, then that was me. That
was me answering Ethos's question. My real personal answer, I don't give a fuck who's a real gamer and who's not. I don't care. I'm gonna be honest. I think this entire conversation is corny since we're talking about corny shit. I would not go as far as like if somebody plays 2K for 2,000 hours a year straight, I'm not gonna say they're not a fucking gamer, bro. That's a gamer. That being said, you are more. If that's all you play, I would just say you're a hardcore casual. Just stop talking about things going on in the greater industry and stick to what you know is all I would ask. That's always been my beef with them, but I wouldn't go as far as to say, oh, you're not a gamer, because I'm not going to take away from somebody who spends thousands of hours playing ranked on Valorant.
I bring this up because I feel like a lot of people who get mad at us kind of conflate and misunderstand, like when we're talking about this, like a lot of people say, just let people play what they want to play. And they kind of just equate that, like when we're talking about like, oh, you shouldn't be talking about this or that, or like an authenticity. That like certain people shouldn't be able to have those discussions or even bring them up because of what your guys are saying. Is like, okay, I was just curious about like the theory of like, okay, if does the does the hypothetical still hold water if it's just like if the shoe's like on the other side of the foot, like if it's a different type of a game. So if it's not just like, oh well, people are just shitting on because they don't like Call of Duty, they don't like, you know what I mean, like if the reason why people like to clown these people is because the games and the groups that they represent, people clown like don't like those games, or like more universally compared to like a game that's more universally beloved. If you swap that, is there a little bit of a difference in the perception?
So you think it's just a popularity thing, like just bagging
I
on
wonder
popular shit?
Yeah, I do wonder if it's like a, well, we most popularly dislike this thing, right? Like a Valorant player, for example, right? If we're talking like a hardcore, someone puts 3,000 hours in, top 200%, 2% tile of the best shooter players of all time, like considerably, like probably from a very skilled player to like master that level of like skill compared to, I'd argue a person who plays Baldur's Gate from like if you swap both of them, I think that I'll give you a good example. Did you guys see the thing with the I thought it was hilarious. It was a joke, but I thought it was funny. Did you guys see the video of the guy who was like the really top tier like CS:GO player, and he got Resident Evil Requiem, and he played it. He was like peeking corners and shit as Leon. He was like,
he was playing like Call of Duty. It looked like
with that little translation where he was like translating his like he's gonna peek me, and he's like peeking corners and stuff like that, kind of like a Rainbow Six Siege type of gameplay. And everybody was laughing because they thought it was funny as hell, compared to what people usually expect from like that sort of thing. Is there really that like translation, or is it really just like, if you could take hardcore, there could still be a respect of, well, if you're you spent thousands of hours on any type of game, regardless of the type of genre. The only genre I don't give that respect to is gacha, because I don't really feel like gacha really truly has a sort of
spending thousands of hours putting your credit card in isn't a skill.
It's not. That's not really translates anything.
Gacha gamers are the only exception to this. I think like a lot of even if I want to give it to Call of Duty, I think a lot of them have their own skill sets and things that other genre gamers could learn from and translate to. Like, for example, if it comes to like someone who does not touch 2K, like myself, like I don't play a lot of basketball games. I play like one or two my entire life. Well, maybe four if I talk about my childhood. But like if I translate and went to 2K, I think that like obviously I could like, oh, well, tell me how the mechanics work, and I can translate that from like a game standpoint. But I think when you talk about like the meta of like understanding how basketball is played, I think that like for you to be good at 2K, I think you have to still understand fundamentally like how
the average 2K player doesn't.
Oh, I know that
they don't eat those. Right. You don't have to know basketball in order to play 2K. Them niggas be cheating, bro. All they gotta find out is meta, what's the best build, and then they just go in. None of that shit matters.
Hide behind screens and shoot threes. What is it? And that's what they do.
Like the high percentile.
I still would argue the niggas in 2K League, they were doing 5 out at one point. They don't care, bro. They ain't no IQ. They ain't no IQ for that.
Certain skills, if you play Baldur's Gate 3, that will translate better versus if you play 2K and try to go to Baldur's Gate. It doesn't translate, bro.
I'm not rolling with that.
Section, I would love to know your Let us know in the comment section, because I would love to know.
Somebody who plays it all, I don't think so, man.
I would love to know.
Matter of fact, we know them skills don't translate in certain games. An example being fighting games. Yeah, I'm sorry. Invincible Versus is one of the easiest fighting games I've ever picked up. And half the audience, this shit is fucking hard. Man, these devs need to be, it's a like a sick button fighter, bro. It's not even 8.
Once y'all told me, once you and Steve told me that people were asking how to block, I was like, yeah, y'all are done, bro. I don't understand. Like, if y'all, this is literally the first fighting game that y'all ever picked up. Like, that was kind of ridiculous to see.
Could that be two separate groups though? Could that be like not necessarily like fighting game players, but that could have just been like Invincible watchers?
Yes, because it's popular. Yeah, because it's popular. So again, like, and I just find it weird. I mean, I understand that it's a possibility, and I'm sure that it happened here, but for you to just never play any fighting games at all, but just off the strength of liking Invincible, you're like, hey, I'm about to try this out, and you don't look at the tutorial and you're just like diving in there and you're like, where's the block button? I kind of find it to be ridiculous. Again, that's not understanding the fundamentals. That's not even saying like you don't even have to play a fighting game before, but still, like, just to go in off the strength of you liking Invincible but not understanding like where the buttons are, it's kind of ridiculous. But your point, Ethos, your conversation kind of going into like a different territory. It's kind of like a different topic here, but I'm gonna still roll with it. On a serious note, like a TBH, I don't really care. Like this whole real gamer stuff, I'm not like dying on. It doesn't really matter to me. But yeah, like I said, we have a bucket for those people that just, it doesn't matter what you play, but if you invest so many hours into one specific video game or one specific genre, then yeah, you are hardcore casual. But again, the difference, I do roll with you and TBH's point about like certain games that you play, it can translate to another type of game, but what they play it is the thing. Like that, and that's really where we're trying to get to. Like, do you have an interest for playing those different type of games? If you don't, then yeah, like me personally, I just don't consider you to be a real gamer. Because like I just would like people to just open up and at least have a couple of different genres that they like. I'm not saying you have to invest the same amount of time and energy into these different types of genres and games, but if you have a background that you played all these different games, then yeah, I would personally consider you more of a real gamer than somebody who doesn't.
Okay. I mean, listen, as long as you having fun and not giving stupid ass opinions about things you ain't played, that's all I fucking care about, bro.
Facts.
Yeah.
Other than that, this whole what's a real gamer and what's a real not.
Hey, bro, they pulling people's cars down, man. All the gun gamers woke it up.
I can't help but feel like I see this opinion a lot more. Like this woman that said this stuff, I can't help but feel like, do you listen to the podcast? Like, sounds a little similar. But yeah, that's interesting. Let us know in the comment sections what makes a real gamer. I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all will be typing
50
paragraphs.
hours minimum.
If you weren't there in World of Warcraft early days. Here's one that I saved that I thought was interesting. Not about what's being a real gamer, but more so what makes a real reviewer. So the reviews for Returnal came out, which
Returnal, wrong.
Not Returnal, but Sorrows. My bad.
I know. Yeah.
I think that comes out this week, so I'm pretty sure we'll talk about that in the next podcast
on the 30th.
Yeah. And for the most part, I didn't save it, so you're not going to see it on the screen, so you got to take my word for it. But I think the overall Metacritic's sitting at an 89 overall average. There was a bunch of 10s, 9s, 8s. Great reviews, one of the highest reviewed games of the year. But one of the lowest reviews this year came from IGN. And a lot of people pointed out and said, oh, IGN's being IGN again. But then I saw this tweet that came across my For You page, and I cannot figure out where this info is coming from, but I still thought it would be an interesting conversation. This person, Bonsai Boy, responded to IGN's 7 out of 10 saying, I wish more reviews had the expectation of playing a game thoroughly. This is one of the lowest review scores, but also one of the only reviewers that actually finished the game. A 7 from someone who saw the true ending is a lot more informative than a 10 from someone who has not finished the game. And I said, was this in the written review? I didn't watch the video review, and like I didn't read the review either, admittedly. So maybe it's in the written review.
It is.
But
it says I'm left conflicted after the 22 hours I put in seeing it all the way through to its true ending. Though there's a bigger emphasis on the story this time around, but it's more ambitious in some respects, which I appreciate. But when its strongest ideas are a bit too abstracted, powerful themes can end up ringing hollow. So while it's eclipsed by its predecessor in some important ways, Sorrows is still worth banging in my head against over and over again.
Okay, so where I wanted to take
we know who did this. We know who did this review. Michael Hegan.
Filipino boy.
Him.
Yeah, Mike.
Shout out to Michael. Yeah.
He's a good dude. He's a solid dude. Then.
Yep.
So
I respect his opinion.
Yeah, I respect his opinion too.
Yeah.
I'd go as far as to say I agree with this take then on Twitter, because if what they're saying is true, this is one of the only reviewers that actually finished the game, and they gave it a 7 out of 10 afterwards versus everybody else. I'm more inclined to believe that shit, especially after the Mass Effect 3 drama. But I wanted to hear y'all take on this. Like, do you need to finish a game to have a definitive opinion? Or do you hold more weight for somebody who beat the game versus people who did not when it comes to their reviews?
Yeah, I think so. I which is funny, I was going to bring up the same thing. I think Mass Effect 3 was like, for me, was the catalyst of understanding that, like, I think reviewers need to beat games as best as they can, unless it's like, I give exception to, of course, if you have a Crimson Desert situation where like, it's a massive game, but Sorrows is not a massive game. I think I just read in the review, it only took him 11 hours, 12 hours or something to beat. That he got to the true ending. He said, 22. So after 22 hours, so it is much longer, but I don't think 22 hours or even under a 30 hour or under 30 hour game, I don't think it's unreasonable to hope that like every person has beaten that game.
That's a 1 week project. If you're a game reviewer.
If you're a game reviewer, I feel like you should be able to get through that in 1 week, a week, and maybe 2 weeks at max if you have other stuff going on. But I do agree with you that, like, I think I learned a lot from Mass Effect 3. And a lot of that game, because I remember I read IGN's review when I was younger, before the game came out, because that was what I was reading before the game came out, because I was extremely excited for Mass Effect 3. And then I think the review, which IGN set it to like really high, I don't even think they review, and a lot of the Mass Effect 3 reviews ever brought up the ending. Because that game was pretty big.
It did.
So but I don't think I think there's a very few amount that even questioned it. But I think a lot of them were giving the Mass Effect 3 like 9s and 10s.
Mass Effect 3 wasn't that. None of the Mass Effect games were that big. They were all like 20 to 30 hour games, weren't they? 15 to 30. That's what was so confusing about them not bringing up the endings. Let me go to how long to beat.
I mean, I thought 3 was pretty long though. I mean, not like super long, but I'm pretty sure it was pretty meaty. Yeah, 36 hours, 36 and a half hours, 25 hours.
Damn,
so it's still
like 12 to me, nigga.
Yeah, no, I think 1 was fastest to beat. 2 was pretty long if you do all the side stuff, and I know 3 was.
I might be thinking of 1, then I might be thinking.
Yeah, 1 was not that long. I think you beat 1 in like under like 15 hours if you just going through it. But yeah, I think especially now, where which is funny. It's funny to me how we had literally, I think, like this argument, this conversation with Crimson Desert, where people were saying it was like, how many of these gamers actually beat the game? The game was so big, how could they do that? But then there's also the back end of, well, sometimes publishers like don't give reviewers enough time, and they have to get the reviews ready to go. So it's like, is that really their fault if they can't beat the game unless they're like a god tier?
I think
top tier gamer.
The conversation shifts to, then do you have a responsibility to create a more wait a week and create a more thorough review, or put it out now at the risk of credibility?
A lot of outlets have already solved that problem. Like a lot of them, like I know IGN, Games, a lot of the big guys, they had that problem and they decided on doing the review in progress. They did with Marathon, and people were trying to act like it was some sort of conspiracy that they were trying to help Marathon not get bad reviews, because they were like, they're not releasing the scores because it's not a good game, and not because Bungie had basically insisted and said, look, there's a part of the game that's on a time release, and it's not that the content's not there. It's in the game. It's just it's a very unique aspect of how we're showcasing this content. And we feel like once that content is shown, it really shows the full depth of the game that can give like the consumer the best idea of what this whole package is. It's basically the cherry on the top for the whole package. I get the argument of like, well, you should just review it as it is if I wanted to pick it up day one, but I feel like there's an important context to that where like, you should talk about how the game is right now. But a lot of review spots have already done the whole review in progress, where they might hold off on the review, or they might just give a review for what they've played up to that point and say, all right, this is where we're at right now, and then they'll update it later. But the truth is, gamers aren't going to be looking a week or two for clicks on a review of a game that's been out already for 2.5 weeks. They're not. I'm pretty sure like the you have to strike the iron while it's hot, and that iron is basically within the week before the game comes out and the week the week after the game's been out. That's usually the highest retention SEO moment, where a lot of games are going to be at the height of like people looking it up, searching it, and deciding on if they're going to buy it or not. And if you miss that window, everyone else sets up already a narrative, and people listen to everybody already and already got made their decision and their opinion, and they don't really care about like hearing another opinion about a said project. So yeah, I think like we've kind of solved this, but I do agree. I think we are at a point where it is necessary, where I think, especially if Saros is the case of this, because I just went through some of the ones that gave 10 out of 10s. I was just curious. So I just went to like stuff like Gaming Bolt. There was like another one I looked at really quick, like Game Surf, and I was just like control Fing. I was just like true ending, nothing. And then I'm checking Game Surf here as another reviewer. These are guys that have given it like 9s and 10s, and I'm like, okay, well, what did you say about this? And they're also not. I don't see anything to say. I don't see anything specifically in the article. This is again just me like just hard, just typing it in to search it, but I'm not seeing anything about true ending. I'm just see if there's like something about the ending. Yeah, I'm not seeing any of them bring it up. So does that mean that like no one has beat the game? No, not necessarily. It's very possible that the reviewers that reviewed these games probably just didn't type it, feel like it was worth bringing it up or typing it. Some people don't really care. Some people are more about like the journey than they are about the ending. So they're like, the ending wasn't really what I cared about. I just really enjoyed my entire time playing the game. So I'm willing to like, the ending is not of a note to me personally, but other people might see it as a massive note. So yeah, I do think that I think it would be important. I think just in general, if people did have a tag on a review just to say like, yeah, this is my thoughts after beating the entire game, or this is my thoughts after playing only some blah 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 about the game. I was like I was very close to beating the game, or almost there, or I only got halfway through it. Elden Ring was just like that. I know a couple of reviewers who had reviewed Elden Ring had stated in the reviews. I remember watching a video review. I think it was of Skill Up. Skill Up stated in his review. He said, "Look, I have not beaten this game because it is massive, But I'm telling you right now, from what I've played, this is possibly game of the year. Like, and that's what made a lot of people like go like, oh, the hype went up astronomically when people were like, yo, they didn't even beat it and they were already praising it. This is again kind of a reverse of like, for certain games, oh, that's a good thing, but for other people, that's like, nah, that's a bad thing. You haven't beaten all the way through. So,
I'm leaning towards like for a game like Sorrows, it could potentially be a bad thing because I feel like that type of game attracts a very hardcore person who's probably gonna want to do multiple runs and is gonna want to see that true ending because it is like a roguelike, and that's why I was leaning toward. That's why I wanted to bring it. Like, what do y'all think? What do you think, Jay?
I think in general, yeah, I would take someone's opinion who beat a game versus someone who got 70% through, 80% through. This kind of goes back to the conversation where people were like, hey, like, I saw your achievements and you didn't get this certain achievement. Therefore, why are you talking about this game, saying anything about it? So yeah, it's in general, yeah, I feel like that. But as a reviewer, especially the IGNs, the GameSpots of the world, I feel like no matter what game, no matter what genre, you can't win in these situations because you can do everything right, like in Michael's situation with this game, but they were like, oh, you gave it a 7. Everybody else gave it a 9 or a 10. You're IGN. You're known for this. Bad corporation, bad. So it doesn't matter. You're all automatic. If you don't give it the score that they feel like it should get or the scores that everybody else is giving it, then you're going to get crapped on. Ethos brought up Crimson Desert, which is the most recent and highest example so far this year. And that game was just so mixed in the beginning, and then they just continued to improve it. And more people started liking it, but there were those people who never even touched the game when the reviews came out, and they were like, well, how dare you? Like, you didn't even beat the game, but people were like, hey, I have over 100 hours in this game, and this game is so massive, there's no way that we could have beat it. Like, it was just impossible for us to get to the end of the game, so we did our best. All of these are technically reviews in progress, but people didn't care. If you gave it a low score, said anything bad about it, negative about it, then people just crapped on you. And I'm like, y'all don't even have 2 minutes in the game. So how could you say that this person's opinion is wrong? So it's a lose-lose no matter what, unless you're given a game that people anticipated a high score. So that's always going to be the issue here. But I think in general, yeah, if I was pitting someone who only beat a portion of the game and they gave it a high score versus somebody who went through the entire game and got the true ending, yeah, I would accept their opinion, or I would make their opinion hold more weight than someone else who only played a portion of the game and you didn't beat it yet, or you only beat one portion. Because as in a review, if I ever look at it, I'm trying to see everything about the game. I don't want to just see a portion of the game and you're like, hey, I didn't even get to this whole part yet. So yeah, that's my opinion on the situation. But it's a lose-lose either way, no matter who you are, whether you're independent or not.
I tell you this much. Sorrows, that's a Sony exclusive, right? Sony and PC?
Yes.
Listen, Sony ponies, y'all know I get on y'all ashes, man. Y'all love to talk about how PlayStation is the greatest platform of all time, but last year, 9 of the top 10 best-selling games were live service games. I think the only exclusive that was on there was Ghost of Yotei, and it was like number 8. I better see y'all buying, as much as y'all love the PS5, I better see y'all buying that Sorrows, man. It's got tens across the board. Somebody better be playing this shit. And I better not see NBA 2K27 at number 1 again, like it was last year with 2K26.
Don't worry, it will.
We'll be on it. We'll be supporting the PlayStation, but I just find it very funny. None of these games are at the top of the fucking sales. But yeah, that's a fun conversation. Let us know in the comment section what y'all think. Would you hold more weight for somebody who finished the game? Does it matter? Specific games like Ethos is saying, or like they always have to beat it? Let us know when it comes to this review. This is why I stick to impressions nowadays, so you just stay out of that shit. Other news, Ubisoft finally let the cat out of the bag. The industry's worst kept secret, Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced, is officially here. It will be launching July 6, 2026, I believe, for every major platform. It is a total remake of Assassin's Creed Black Flag, which is one of the most beloved in the series, with a more heavy focus on Edward Kenway's adventure. So I believe they're taking out all of the modern sections with the Templars, and they're focusing on him. And in exchange, you're getting better visuals. They rework the combat. There's more story content, like there's new characters in there. It'll give you like new abilities and stuff like that. And yeah, it's coming out this year. No DLC though. No DLC. It's just the base game with some new side quests and stuff like that. So don't expect the DLC with Adewale, the Freedom Cry stuff. How we feeling about this, Jay? We picking up this resync, baby?
Well, I am again not one to really speak on Assassin's Creed because I started at Odyssey, so I'm kind of out of the conversation here. But just from the outside looking in, it looks like people are excited about this. As you said, it's one of the most beloved games in the franchise, so I can see how people want to play a remaster version of it, or resynced as they want to call it here. Looked at the combat revamps. It looks pretty fluid. They got the parry system going there. It looks pretty smooth as far as the combat is concerned. I can't really speak. I would have to look at earlier footage to see what it looked like compared to what it does now as far as the combat. But I know that one of the things that everybody continues to talk about is the ship combat. And for me personally, like I said, Black Flag was not my cup of tea because I'm not a pirate fan at all. But I did do ship combat in Odyssey. So I did get a small little taste of how that combat was in the Ubisoft universe. So I can see why people did like it. But, the whole controversy behind that, they try to make Skull and Bones and that quadruple A title, whatever the hell they want to call it, it didn't end up working out how they thought it would. So for them to now bring it back and put it in Black Flag and make a remaster is cool. So I'm sure that a lot of people do enjoy that. But my question is, will it be enough to, I guess, like right the ship with Ubisoft? Because it just seemed like they've been making a lot of bad moves. So we all knew that this was coming, but will it be enough to bring people back, not only to the franchise of Assassin's Creed, but to Ubisoft, period? Because it just seemed like they're just throwing this at the fans and like, hey, like, here's some nostalgia for you. Let's see if this will work. So that's just my biggest question is will people just eat the candy and then just forget about anything else that Ubisoft has been doing over the past 3 to 5 years, probably even longer than that?
I have some positives and some negatives. All right, so the positives. I did see some people on social media trying to say that this version of the game does not look better. I don't see a difference. I think you guys are being disingenuous. I can see a difference. Now, is the difference that big that it warrants a $70 price tag? Probably not, especially if you've already played this game. I feel like this is great for those who maybe been interested in this game, but never got around to playing the original in 2013. Then yeah, sure, pick it up. But if you've played it already, I don't really see a reason to go back and revisit this unless you just want to relive your childhood. But it does look much more vibrant. The character models, like the face models, look a lot better. I do like the inclusion of some new narrative abilities and stuff. Not abilities, but narrative stuff in the story. It looks okay. It looks okay. I just don't see anything here worth $70 because I already beat the game. And I'm going to be honest, I have it in the closet. If I really wanted to play it again, I'd boot up the old Xbox 360. The negative side of things, though, what I do think this game proves, I'm probably about to piss some people off, is gamers once again don't know what they want. We constantly have this conversation on the podcast, and I think this game is another great example. It's funny you brought up Odyssey, JG, because the same reason a lot of people hated Odyssey, for some reason now they love this game. Because I'm going to be honest, from what they did with the changes in the combat, it looks like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Valhalla, Origins. It has the same exact kind of parry button. It has a little skill tree at the bottom where you hold the trigger and then you hit the corresponding button and it does an ability. That's from the new games. But you guys hated those games, and not everybody, but a lot of you hated those games, especially Odyssey, said it was not an Assassin's Creed game, which is interesting because Odyssey has more implications on the Assassin's timeline than this fucking game does. He does not even become an assassin, spoiler, till the end of the goddamn game. It doesn't do, if you haven't played this game, the game literally opens up with a dead body on the beach. He finds the dead body. It was an assassin. He puts the cloaks on. Now he's an assassin. I was like, bro, get this shit the fuck out of here, bro. I just didn't, don't get me wrong. Black Flag is a good pirate game. It's not a good Assassin's Creed game, in my opinion. And if you're okay with that, then I would say pick it up. But I just find it very interesting. The same reasons a lot of people hated Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla, they're now praising this. Because I'm like, that's all they did. Matter of fact, they admitted that they didn't build this game from the ground up. It's just using an updated version of the Anvil system, which would be Valhalla, Odyssey. It's using the same fucking mechanics, and I see people on social media be like, "Yo, this is da. I thought you guys hated this. Which one is it? I don't know."
Hey, wake it up. Where before you get to Ethos, in your personal opinion, where does Black Flag rank in your Assassin's Creed?
I'm the wrong person to ask. I'm biased.
Okay.
I don't like pirates. I've never wanted scurvy. I don't like being dirty. I didn't find his story to be particularly interesting. I don't like Edward. I just don't like pirates, so I'm biased. I'm the wrong person to ask.
I don't see anybody talking about Edward at all. Everybody, anytime you mention Black Flag, they always just talk about the ship combat and nothing else.
The ship combat was fire. If Ubisoft could just put that into multiplayer and you do that with the homies, that's why I said this is a good pirate game.
Trying to, yeah.
It's a great pirate game. It's a bad Assassin's game, Brad. That's why they took out all the modern stuff, bruh.
Did you see that pirate game that just came out recently? The
Windrose? It doesn't look bad.
I noticed it has a very similar naval system. That might be what you want. You might want to look at it.
It doesn't look bad. But in terms of like implications and where I would rank it for Assassin's Creed, it wouldn't be anywhere in the top for me. What's your thoughts?
You were talking bottom of the barrel. Okay, all right.
Yeah, a lot of people. I'm probably about to piss a lot of people off. What? What'd you think, Ethos?
Okay, so like I'm kind of a little in the same boat, but a little bit different. Same sea, different boat. So I was a big Assassin's Creed fan. I played from the very beginning, and I didn't play Black Flag because that's how bad Assassin's Creed 3 was to me. That's how much I hated Assassin's Creed 3's ending. It left such a bad taste in my mouth that I didn't want to play another Assassin's Creed. So when they announced 4, and I was like, how the hell can you make another game after that ending? How does that even work with the timeline? I didn't even want to touch it. And it kind of proved it because I think they did a whole, like, it was like an animus museum type of, I can't remember the setup.
They removed all that, because for those unaware, this is the 4th game. They removed all of it out of this remake, so you're right.
Yeah. So like when I heard I think I read the reviews because I was debating on picking it up when I was younger, and when I saw the reviews about like, well, there's not really much pushed in the modern, it's really just an entire different adventure where you're there, I completely was turned off. I wasn't already into, I kind of like what they say, pirates versus ninjas. I was into the ninjas, so I was already not engaging with the setting of being.
You want me to tell you what happens with the modern day stuff?
I mean, I kind of know based off of the next one after. Like, Origin kind of like explains some of that, I think, if I recall. Like, what's the... I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to spoil it if people have never played it before.
Fuck them,
Go ahead. It's been years, man. Come on.
If it's 2013, and they're not even going to put it in this one anyway, so anyways.
Go ahead.
They get rid of the modern?
Basically, the Templars create like a game, and you get to go in and just read. That's how I remember it. It's a bullshit excuse to hop in the animus.
Where they're trying to find another Templars that are tied by blood, and they get them to trick into through some sort of like game museum simulation thing. That, like, I know they turn the Animus into this entertainment property that they try to make the real modern world.
They're harvesting data through gameplay.
Yeah, which is funny.
Interesting.
Cool on the nose there.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah, like I wasn't high into it. Now, don't get me wrong, you know, I got some connects at Ubisoft, so they'll probably give me a code for this, and I'll probably check it out because I never played 4, and it's been so long at this point that I'm just like, okay, maybe I'll get with fresh eyes now as a 30, something year old person. Now I'm going to look at it compared to how I was when I was like way younger and way more pissed off. Now I'm just like, I don't really care anymore about what happens with Assassin's Creed's modern story. So I'll just see if I like it now or not. But yeah, I kind of agree. I wasn't like hardcore into the setting to begin with. And I do know there are some people that really like Edward. I am aware there are fans that like really love him. But I've never heard him being like, well, I'll take it back. I have heard some fans say that he's their favorite assassin because of what TBH doesn't like, because he was not originally an assassin. He was he's basically
But doesn't that directly contradict the reason they hated Odyssey though?
I mean, yes and no. So it's a little bit different just because Edward is he's an interesting dichotomy on the Assassin's Creed plotline. Like a lot of the assassins are like, they are put into the role, right, through some sort of tragedy that happens to them, and as a result, they are basically they're brought to the moment. They are like, you must become an assassin to avenge the people that the Templars have screwed you with. Edward's a complete different of that because he don't give a fuck about none of that. Like his whole motivation is
he just kind of gets caught in the middle.
Yeah. He's literally a person. I think he's on the run. It's a convenience for him. It is he puts it on to take I think of it as Siggy loves this show and I like it too. The show that the guy that plays Homelander, Anthony Starr. So there's a HBO series, if you guys didn't know, before Anthony Starr did The Boys, called Banshee. Highly recommend it. It's a phenomenal show. A very mature, very gritty show. Basically, the entire the setup of the story is Anthony Starr's character basically is trying to avoid the law because he's in trouble for something that he did in a different city. So he ends up going into the boonies, basically down south into the boonies, into this place called Banshee. So it's been a while since I watched it, and he incidentally kills the sheriff that belongs to this town, and he takes his identity. So what happens is the town's never met this new sheriff. So he kills the sheriff on his way there and he becomes the sheriff. And then he walks into the town and that's his secret. So the entire show, he's trying to prevent people from knowing that he's not actually the real sheriff, but he plays the role as a sheriff, even though he's a criminal. So that's like the entire premises, which is kind of like what Black Flag's entire premises is like, he's not an assassin. So he plays the role of this assassin because his previous life is basically forfeit. Like if they find out who he was previously, they're going to hang him. So that's the way it's been explained to me, is that he's basically playing the role of an assassin, even though he doesn't really care about that until, like what you said, until the end, where he kind of matures and understands that, like, it's kind of like, oh man, I'm going to spit. It kind of reminds me of Andor, where you have a main character who doesn't really care about the politics or the plight of the greater good or of the world. He doesn't care. I'm one of those indifferent people. I don't care about politics. I don't care about that. I just care about what happens to me, and I don't care what happens in the world. And then when they're thrusted into that, or that the world start the problems of the world start to affect him, or he gets thrusted into that area, he starts to realize that his neutrality has caused more harm than him actually engaging and trying to do better. So I think that's kind of what Black Flag was going for. Maybe that, again, because of current events, maybe that might make me look at the game a little bit different and be like, okay, I kind of mess with this. But again, I haven't actually played it to see if the writing's going to be that good, because it is Ubisoft, and this was a weird part where Ubisoft kind of lost their writing chops. So we'll see what happens, but I want to play it. I probably will give it a shot. So I could give my opinion on it when it comes out for the podcast, when Ubisoft slides me a code.
Yeah.
So.
Also, I'm gonna be super woke too. Another reason I wasn't a big fan of that game, I'm probably about to piss hella people off.
I know what you're gonna say.
I find it very funny that Ubisoft, and they do this every time a new Assassin's Creed game comes out. We've spent 20 years developing and recreating and restructuring and researching this world, but when they get
made
to
of a
game,
diverse team of people from different faiths.
But when they got to the game about the Caribbean, if you haven't played it, they don't even touch on the slavery shit. The entire GDP of the Caribbean islands was based off of fucking sugarcane and slavery and shit. There's a couple missions where like you end up at a plantation and you see some black people working, but that's about as far as there's no commentary on it. There's no mention of it. Now, eventually
Freedom Cry was created. That was
eventually they did come with the DLC for Freedom Cry, but I'm like, it shouldn't have been.
They realized that was
it was a bad fuck up, bro. It's like it didn't exist. So I was like,
Well, I am curious then when it comes to this remake, if they're actually going to insert that now, or is it too hot now?
They should just put it in the game somehow.
Yeah,
if you want to be historically accurate, like I just thought that was a little weird and kind of whitewashed. And then I brought it up on stream, and somebody in the chat was like, "Well, you got to remember, Ubisoft's a French company who own majority of those islands." I was like,
French.
Yeah.
Oh, French.
Yeah,
I was like,
telling the story.
I said, "You're right. We're not getting no Haitian Revolution mission." You're right.
They don't want to talk about Haiti. They don't want to talk about that.
I was like, "That's the French version of what they be doing over here in America." I was like, "That's valid. That's valid." But yeah, that's coming July 6th. If I get a free code, I'll check it out. But like, I wouldn't pay $70 for it. I'm with you on that ethos.
Yeah. So yeah, it's I mean, yeah, we'll see. I'll check it out. So I guess I'll give my impression on it once I get a key.
Some interesting news coming out of the Sony camp. Mr. Yoshida, probably the most famous person from the PlayStation side, really responsible, the architect behind a lot of things at PlayStation. He was given a speech recently where he revealed why he was fired. And here are some quotes from it by Jim Ryan. He said, "I helped Sony Santa Monica make God of War, Naughty Dog make Uncharted, The Last of Us, and Sucker Punch make the beautiful Ghost of Tsushima. And Ghost of Tsushima was one of the last games that I worked on as a president of the Worldwide Studios. But in 2019, after 11 years leading the first party development, I was fired from my role. Jim Ryan wanted to remove me from first party because I didn't listen to him. He said jovially, happily, prompting laughter from the audience. He asked to do some ridiculous things, and I said no. And other reports are claiming that those ridiculous things is that they wanted like 12 live service games over the span of like X amount of years. And he was like, no, I want to make more of the games, basically, you know, what they're known for, the God of Wars, the Ghost of Tsushima type of stuff like that. And now, right now, he's working on indie games. Like he's like a consultant. He has his own company now. He consults for indie games for like PlayStation and stuff like that. Do we believe his story? Do we believe that the West pushed him out because he wouldn't do more live service?
Of course, yeah. I mean, we talked about this before. This is like the second time, because this man has been going on like a podcast tour. I don't know if people have been peeping, but he let the chopper fly now. He like, hey, I'm out of here, so I'm just about to start spilling the beans. So yeah, now he's already mentioned this. I'm actually quite surprised that like this is popping back up, but it's because he said it on another podcast that I guess people are picking up the story again. So yeah, no, I 100%. I don't think that he's capping on this, especially with, you know, what we've recently seen with Sony, the Concord, the whole Blue Point situation. Yeah, Sony is, like I said, people need to really start changing their tune about Sony. We got another story coming up that we literally about to talk about. Yeah, Sony has not been who you thought they were. Again, Microsoft, with some of the moves that they made publicly in the past, it had people on their ass, and Sony was like, oh, you know, they could do no wrong. But no, Sony has been quietly doing a lot of shady stuff, and a lot of this stuff is coming to light, you know, years later. So I totally, you know, agree. And I do believe that Yoshida did get pushed out because he stood on business. He didn't want to put out those live service games, and rightfully so, because you see so far they aren't working for Sony. And I don't think that if Yoshida was forced to do that, or if he just agreed to do that, I don't think he could have made the situation really any better, in this, especially in this climate that we're going through right now. Sony has a footprint, and they are good at making those third-person cinematic adventure games. Them making live service games so far has not panned out how they wanted to. You know, it's the difference between what you want and what actually works for you. In the realistic situation of it is the live service games just aren't really working for Sony. They don't really have the personnel for it. They're trying to get people who never worked on live service games to work on these live service games, and none of it is sticking right now. Like, I think this only just needs to stick to what they're good at doing. And again, I don't think that Yoshida, if he would have stayed there doing their project and working on those live service, 12 is a lot, man. Like, I don't think people realize, like, we talk about like 1 or 2, but 12, like, he was just like, hey, just knock out 12. Like,
it's 4 of us on the podcast. How the fuck will we all play live if there's 12 live service games? How are we all gonna review that?
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Yeah, absolutely ridiculous. So I want people to really like hone on how many that he said that Jim Ryan wanted him to make. So for Yoshida to be like, hey, all right, like, I'm not doing that, and then get, you know, relegated. I wouldn't say, you know, downgraded, but relegated to working on indie games, and he still enjoyed it, but, you know, worked on it for 5 years and then dipped out last year. Like, you know, that's a valiant effort. But yeah, I don't like Sony's business practices as of late, and I think that more people need to be like really holding Sony's feet to the fire, because they have not been making some good business decisions, and they keep getting grace because they gonna give you Spider-Man, they gonna give you Wolverine, they gonna give you Ghost of Yotai, they gonna, like, just because there's these iconic franchises that we know and love, they're just like, oh, just give me the games, and I'm just going to forget about or just not research anything else that they've been doing. Sony is not your friend.
Yeah, I think as much as we like to shit on Nintendo, like, I understand why they protect their IPs and they're so strict about what they do and don't do when it comes to their products. Because, like, I'd argue this is a result of letting the West too much in on what you're doing. And they're just too hyper focused on making money, to the point where, like, even in this article too, I forgot to bring this one up, but it's the same thing. But Yoshida was also wondering how Sony is going to maintain their investment in first party games without them releasing on PC. Now, a couple of years ago, Sony was talking about how much money they were making on PC. They love it. PC gamers are supporting us. But then the moment Xbox started struggling before Asha took over, then they said, oh, we're taking the games off of PC. They're not selling. But then you have Yoshida in the same speech saying, How are they going to maintain that between the live service games as well as the investment in these AAA games? He's arguing that Sony needs PC. I just love when someone unintentionally backs up the stuff that we've been saying. For those who fell for the propaganda and genuinely believed that the reason Sony took their games off PC is because it wasn't selling, all you had to do was look at the fucking Steam charts. Anytime a Sony game would come to Steam, it was always the top selling game that year. And he's basically backing it up like, nah, them PC motherfuckers was buying games. And now he's sitting here like, yo, what are y'all doing pulling these games out of here?
Come on, Steam DB watchers, wake it up. Yeah, look at the charts, nigga. Look at the charts.
Sony is evil. It's propaganda, bro. And y'all are falling for it, man. And you know the worst part is too, in that other article, he mentioned how on his way out, he kind of wanted to focus on more indie games. That's why he launched his own consulting company for indie games. But Sony wasn't trying to hear that shit. So not only was they not trying to hear it for the AAA over the shoulder action games they known for, they wasn't trying to hear it for the indie games. They only want live service games, and he's calling cap on the PC shit. What's your thoughts on all this, Ethos?
Yeah, I mean, I none of this shocks me. I mean, if you look at the time, it was like who was in charge when the whole the order came down to start making a bunch of these live service games. This isn't like, I don't really like this is even like a big shocker. It's like, and to find, I think it was more shocking that Yoshida got fired. Yeah, that he got, well, he said retired, but basically it sounds like, yeah, he was fired because he wasn't listening to what Ryan was saying, which is like, it seems like Yoshida was probably like one of the more grounded voices perhaps in the room when they were making some of these high-end decisions. And he had the experience, like he was working, and then they threw him basically on an island. They basically threw him into that indie section, said, threw him away from the AAA area and said, you're just going to work with our indie games, which I kind of feel like is kind of like insult, like almost like a slur. It's like insulting, like, throw him to the indie side, which he still did.
It's kind of like, you know, the story of Napoleon, like what happened later in his life. No, like Napoleon Bonaparte, like at the end of his life when they gave him his own little island to play. Yeah, it's kind of like that.
They were terrified of him. Yeah, later on, you're just like, yeah, leave him alone. I kind of see it as that too. Like, it's just, it doesn't really shock me at all. And is Jim Ryan still in charge? I don't even remember who is even in charge at Sony right now.
That's a good question, man.
So much has happened in the past couple of years. I don't even know who's in charge. Is it Jim Ryan? I thought left, right?
They really don't have a face of PlayStation.
I thought Kearney or whatever it was in charge, right?
It says Google could be wrong, but it says of April 2025, Hideo Nishio is the president and CEO of Sony Interactive. I don't know that person.
Yeah, so it ain't Jim Ryan.
Well, who's the president of, like, okay, so
Sony America?
Just search, yeah. Who took over Jim Ryan's position? That's what I'm curious. Is Jim Ryan still in charge of whatever? I don't know what position he's in or what he was in.
Still at Sony. Let's see. No, like, Jim Ryan is no longer there. He left March 2024.
Okay, so yeah, he retired. So yeah. So Herman Holst and Nishino.
That's how I remember. I know Hertz from Guerrilla Games, I think, and somebody, and maybe Kearney or something, like the guy who was like the architect of the PlayStation.
So we're not bugging. I feel like Sony lacks like a rock star right now, like somebody who's like the face of the company.
That's what I was saying for the longest, because like who was Yoshino was that person in the Sony side, and that's why I feel like Microsoft is always like done better than Sony at, because we can point to the people like Major Nelson and Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond, like though they were forward facing people and we always seen them, but for Sony we didn't really see those people or resonate with those people at the head of there. So yeah, it's always been like that for a while.
Yeah, freaking don't mess up the formula. If you got something that's working, I think you should probably stick with that. You can have like 1 or 2 live service games, but the thing is, you can't put those out every year. I don't understand why you can't put out like one fire live service game like every 5 years. Like run it down, then launch a new one. But like launching 11 or 12 over the next 5 years, it just financially doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make sense from a time standpoint. Nobody has the money or the time to even be playing all these games, but it makes you wonder, do these people even play games? You know, it makes you wonder.
No. Going back to the PC point before we move on. Like I said, even when we had this conversation about Sony, potentially pulling out of putting games on Steam, I call cap on that because, again, like go back to the point of like every time y'all announce a game that comes on PC, it's always at the top of the chart. So I'm like, y'all aren't not making any money. Y'all are definitely making money. And in the case of Yoshiro and how he said what he said, this made it seem like whenever Sony releases one of their exclusives on Steam, it's like extra money. It's bonus money. So it's not like you aren't making a profit just putting the game out on PlayStation, because obviously you're going to make your money. People love these games. So you're going to make your money. You're going to make buku money. But you taking 2 to 5 years, however long, and you still releasing it on Steam. I've told y'all about the people like shout out to DX. He doesn't own a PlayStation. He said, like, I don't want to own a console. I will wait to play Last of Us. I will wait to play some of these games. And there are other people who are purely PC gamers who, whenever these games come out, like, if you give them a chance, they're going to buy them. Like, I don't think that people who primarily play on PC or Steam are fickle and they're like, hey, I just have no interest in these type of games. They will play them. They just don't want to get a console to do it. And it could be really that simple. So they do play these games. So yes, it's extra money, but for your shield to be like, hey, I don't know if they're going to be sustainable. Now that's a different conversation. That's kind of a red flag to me, because again, like, I wonder how much money is going to potentially be lost now with them not putting these games on PC. Because like I said, I think it's extra money at this case, but how much are they trying to invest in other games, especially if they're trying to do all these live service games? Because as you can see, Concord was a huge loss. Like, Sony had been taking a good number of losses. So they're not going to be bankrupt. I don't want anyone thinking that. But again, it just makes me wonder, if you were simply making extra money by putting these games on PC, then what are we doing, trying to reverse that? Because it's not like y'all weren't making anything. Y'all really trying to make it seem like y'all were making pennies putting these games on PC, when I call cap on it. I don't think that was the case.
Yeah, especially because Sony's not like Microsoft in a sense where, like, I don't think Sony has like a definitive product. They make good products, right? Like, a matter of fact, I'm using a Sony camera right here. I mean, they got TVs, they got consoles and stuff like that, but like, Microsoft has a definitive product in Windows where, like, they don't ever have to really worry about money. I don't think Sony has that. So it's like, I would think you would be looking for extra revenue in every place possible for you to just be giving up PC like that so easily. But hey, maybe they know something that we don't. Only time will tell. What I do know is this is a very interesting story that I feel like I didn't really see too many mainstream media sites pick up. I found this one out from Twitter, and it was actually real. Several people tweeted out that PlayStation quietly rolled out DRM for the 4 and the 5. So they basically confirmed a 15-year-old rumor. If you guys remember, I believe it was like 15 years, something like that, 10 plus years ago. E3 2014, I believe. Was that the year that they announced the PS4 and the Xbox One? And Xbox One, Microsoft went on stage and they announced that, hey, for the Xbox One, in order to play our games, you're going to have to always be online, and we're going to check your internet connection like every 30 seconds to make sure that your games are real and verify it, right? People's not fucking with that. Now, if you don't know that story, the rumor is apparently Sony was going to do the same exact thing, but Microsoft got so much backlash from that. The very last second, they switched it up and they decided to get rid of the DRM in the PS4, and the PS4 just took off. Didn't help that Microsoft was talking about TV and all this other dumb shit either, but that was like the final nail in the coffin. Well, today's story confirms that's probably true. PlayStation has rolled out DRM for the 4 and the 5, requiring online check-ins every 30 days. Newly purchased digital games now need to connect to the PlayStation Network every 30 days to verify the license. If the console stays offline for more than 30 days, the game may stop working until the internet connection is made. And then they have screenshots too. If you go into your settings, it'll show you with like the actual timer of when it's going to validate the next time. So it's like on this picture right here, it says 20 days left before we verify your copy again. I don't think personally this is going to be a big deal for people with PS5s, but people with PS4s they're probably more inclined to get their internet cut off. What you guys think?
This one is interesting because I always wonder, like, what is the benefit of this? Like, why would Sony do this? Literally go back to, hey, Sony ain't your friend, man. Sony's been doing some evil stuff. Why now? Why in 2026 you would do this?
They're winning, Jay.
PS5, but PS4?
They're winning.
Man, that's crazy, bro. Like I said, people get mad at this, but I don't think people are going to get mad enough to be like, hey, I'm going to boycott Sony or anything like that. They're just going to be like, hey, whatever, man, it's Sony. So they just go they're like, all right, give me Wolverine at the end of the year and I'm going to be happy. Like, it's going to be rinse and repeat with them. Sony can do no wrong in these niggas' eyes. I don't understand.
The Sony ponies are the MAGAs of video games. Like maybe
Mm.
not that level extreme, but damn near close where it's like they can just do nothing wrong. Doesn't matter how many things we show them. It's like, hey, I just find it very funny. The moment Xbox kind of took a step back, that's when they started turning up the fuckery. I am curious of what's their end game with this. Is it going to get worse? How well is this technology tested too? Because this could also potentially add new issues, right? We don't know if this tech works. This is their first time doing this shit. We're gonna know in 30 days. Because it'd be fucking funny if 30 days from now, a bunch of people just tweet out, hey, y'all, I can't play my God of War. What the fuck? My internet's connected. Da, 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 da. Like, they just kind of quietly put it out. Do you have any thoughts on it, Ethos?
I'm trying to find the sourcing on this. I got like multiple confirmed. Did they say this is going to be on the 5 or is this like a PS4 thing?
It's 4 and the 5. It's being reported by Vice, Gaming Bible, MP First, Twisted Voxel, a bunch of websites I know. It's not just on Twitter. I just looked it up.
Yeah, I see people talking about they took the CMOS, which is the the battery inside of the thing to like determine the motherboard will determine what time it is, or did they,
Yeah.
They said that they if the battery dies, then all digital games within the timer become unplayable.
Ooh, yeah. This creates a preservation issue too.
This is
makes
this is alarm bells. This is very bad.
It makes your PS5 and your 4 a ticking time bomb the moment it dies. Can
I go into real evil?
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about price gouging. Let's talk about if you control the digital market and then you can dynamically change the value and the pricing of games based off of certain factors. They'll be like, oh, it's harder now this month, so we're gonna have to raise the prices of our digital games, and they can just do that on a whim. Yeah, this is bad. What else am I supposed to say? There's no positive thing about this. This is just straight up bad. This is literally what Xbox was. What you said was Xbox was going to do two generations ago. What they were going to do with the Xbox One, like the whole idea of like you check in with the game, or you have to check in every 30 days with the console, like online. If you don't, then you can get locked out. This is just doing this for digital games. This is. Oh man, yeah, this is bad.
Like, think of it like this is annoying too, because like think of it of a situation where like I don't know, your internet goes out because sometimes, especially if you got Spectrum, that shit is ass. Like or Comcast, it just randomly goes out and you can't get somebody out to fix it for like a week. But you got a PS5, now you can't even use your fucking PS5, bro.
I guess the argument is like, oh well, how is somebody gonna not have internet for 30 days or something like that? And I know that was the argument.
Rural America,
people, yeah. But people argued inside, like, well, okay, what about soldiers who are overseas and they couldn't connect to the internet or something like that with their consoles when they were overseas, so they would have to be playing on offline mode to play some games, and they told them they wouldn't be able to. I remember that was an argument way back. I don't know how true that is now with like satellite and all that sort of stuff, but I know that was an argument back then. Like, I don't know. This is just bad.
It doesn't do anything positive for the consumer. That's what I'm trying to wrap my brain around. This is like
I get the idea of people saying, well, even if you lose it for 30 days, if you just plug the thing back into the internet, don't you just get the license back? Which I'm assuming, like, yeah, you would. But like, I feel like this is just that's a bad precedent in general. I just don't like this. It's kind of making me.
It takes away from the argument that console is plug and play. I could argue it's no longer plug and play. You have to always have the internet connection in order to be online. You can't just plug it in the wall and play it anymore.
Yeah, it's been like that for years, but console people don't want to admit that. They're like, "Oh, you PC people, we're trying to tell y'all, it ain't just put the disc in and play the game anymore."
What happens with retro? So like, what happens like when we go like 3 generations in the future? Kind of like what happened with like the Nintendo store. Because remember that was the whole thing with Nintendo. Like once the Nintendo store went offline on the 3DS, you couldn't get access to any of those digital games. So someone had to go and buy them. Like imagine if this system and then they turn off the store, they change it, and it doesn't work anymore. Does your PS5 just become a brick?
Yes, yeah, but essentially, like this is going to be really bad. That's why game preservation, they're fighting over this in the UK. This really needs to be a bigger story because we're really not going to be able to play anything retro like in the next 5-10 years that they continue with this. Yeah, it's bad.
Unfortunate. And it's funny because I feel like the past week PlayStation in terms of news stories had a rough week, but on the opposite end of the spectrum, finally, because I feel like it's mostly been negative. On the opposite end of the spectrum, I feel like Xbox had a more positive week. Xbox's CEO Asha announced that the Game Pass Ultimate will drop from $29.99 to $22.99 per month, effective immediately. Meaning, if your next bill is on the first, the price will be dropped, which is 30%, by the way. Because I've seen some people complaining. I'm like, that's 30%. The very next bill will be cheaper. The only trade-off is Call of Duty will no longer be a day one release on the Game Pass. I don't really see too many people bitching about it. I personally don't care because Call of Duty sucks right now anyway. But how are we feeling about this price drop? Matter of fact, Jay, you said you'd be shocked if they did it, so you ended up being wrong. They did it.
I did. I'm happy to say I'm wrong, man. I never thought that I would see this coming. Like, nobody has ever done this, and this is literally like one of the first times that I can mention in recent history that someone has dropped the price of a subscription service. So shout out to Asha and shout out to Microsoft for doing that. Cause like I said, that was a pipe dream. That was like a 0.1% chance that I thought it was going to happen. So, you know, I'm saying I'm wrong on the podcast for sure. And again, I mean, to trade off being no Call of Duty day one, to be honest, I mean, you barely would be used to it anyways. If you were an Xbox Game Pass subscriber, I don't think that you got Game Pass for Call of Duty. I know that was one of the biggest controversies. Or like, oh, you gonna put it on there? You're gonna put Call of Duty on there? And then they finally did. But that was during one of the worst years in Call of Duty history for Black Ops 7. So really nobody cared. I don't think that.
No, I started with 6.
Okay, yeah, 6. But
I remember we was all on 6.
You're right. You're right, 6. My bad. But yeah, 6 was okay. But when 7 came out, then people were really like, "Hey, I'm not trying to get Game Pass for that." I didn't really care. I saw a very, very small amount of people that care that there was no Call of Duty. Because the weird thing is, they said it was going to come the next year, and I'm like, well, nobody wants to play it the next year. So I feel like y'all need to tweak that again and maybe make it 6 months at least, because the game is going to be effectively dead. Nobody wants to play that because, to be honest, I mean, everybody plays Call of Duty for multiplayer. Not too many people play it for the single player only. So you're essentially going to make that franchise dead in the water if you're relying on Game Pass. But I feel like, again, at this point, the majority of people were playing Call of Duty anyway. You're going to buy it. So
Call of Duty comes out when? Like November?
Like October, November. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say put it on the Game Pass like February, like the next year, because like the majority of their sales are going to come from Christmas. They're going to come from Thanksgiving, Christmas sales.
Right.
After that, put it on the Game Pass, I think.
Yeah. So and I'm kind of weird on that one. Like a whole year is kind of DOA on that one. But again, I feel like that's a fair trade off. They also say that they're going to be tweaking some of the subscription tiers. So I'm curious to see what exactly they're going to do with that. They said that they are going to look at some of the features in each tier and then potentially do like a pay for what you want type of system. Like whatever bundles that you want, you can throw in there. So for me personally, the reason why I got Ultimate was because that one had Xbox Cloud, and that was one of the only ways that I could play Xbox Game Pass on my Steam Deck. So I remember when I had my son, I was like, yo, why can't I play cloud? Like I went through the whole process and I was like, I can't play cloud games. And then I realized I had to get Ultimate. So I was like, okay, let me go ahead and get Ultimate so that I can do this. So that would be one feature that I would still want. So if I can like get that, but then like take away some other features, like again, I don't give a shit about Call of Duty. And there would be some games like I would really just care about like maybe like if I can get a tier with like the first party games, if I get all the first party games that Xbox comes out with day one, then that would be the tier I would get along with Xbox Cloud so that I can play games on my Steam Deck. And I would be fine with that. So if they do introduce that, then that would be more appealing to me. But I think this is a step in the right direction. I'm not saying that this is a capital W. We still got a long way to go. But I think in terms of Asha trying to right the ship, this is a good faith gesture. I think that all of the Xbots will be happy about this, but at the end of the day, Xbox has to come out with the games that makes Xbox Game Pass affordable and makes it enticing for people to not only stick with, but for new people to get those subscriptions in. Because again, that's the whole point. So for them to look at the model, be like, hey, that's too much, and they actually downgraded the subscription, I was very surprised. But again, it's a step in a good direction. So small W for now. But I'm gonna be looking with a magnifying glass to see what else y'all can cook up.
With this price drop, I think I'll probably come back to Game Pass on a month-to-month basis. It's really about the first-party games. What is Bethesda and Activision putting out? And like Team Ninja and shit like that. If they're putting out like good games that I want to play, the month that game comes out, I might subscribe for like a month or two, depending on how long it takes me to beat it. But I'm probably going to cut it off afterwards just because like, it's not that I can't. I don't want to afford a year worth of Game Pass again. Just because y'all president, not mine, is just fucking up the world right now, and I'm just trying to, save some money. I'm trying to be a little bit more frugal here. But overall, I would say it's a W. We're going in the right direction. What do you think, Ethos?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still excommunicated right now, so we'll see what happens. It's a good gesture, but again, like I said, is this just it kind of gives that vibe of you will pay more for less, if that makes sense. Like if we're going to be reducing the prices, but Microsoft is obviously a big company, so they've probably done a risk assessment of like how much can we lower this to make people think they're still getting value, even if like we're technically cutting a big amount of it. Because I mean, I got the Game Pass long before Call of Duty was even an afterthought, so that was just like a bonus on top. But kind of what you guys are saying, right? If the games aren't there, then what's the point? Even if you reduce the cost, which is a good sign, even if you reduce the cost, if there's not enough value there, it's still not going to be worth it. So if Call of Duty was a big factor for people to want to get the Game Pass, and now that's gone, it's like, how are you going to justify, which is the problem they ran into in the first place, which I thought was the whole reason why they put it on the Game Pass, is because they were trying to get more subscriptions. So if that was the main thing and you're like, okay, well, that didn't get us enough, or now we're taking that away and we have already done the math and we think that the people who are going to leave Game Pass as a result of that is smaller than the amount of people who might resubscribe that we lost because of the increase in the price. They probably done the math on that and said, yeah, it's probably worth us just cutting Call of Duty and just getting our money by just making people pay $70 a year. But yeah, I hope it doesn't become, which is the key. The next pushback would be is if they start to say, okay, well now Xbox game exclusives or whatever it is, or Xbox studio games are no longer going to be day one on the Game Pass. Now we're falling into the pattern of we're reverting. We're not actually making progress. We're just reverting the Game Pass into a previous weaker version of what it used to be, which I think would end up with, I would argue and say, I don't think that's going to be a net positive. I think it's just going to be,
I'd be canceling my shit. That's why I said month to month.
What's the point of it? If it's just like, yeah, it might be like the sort of like what you were talking about earlier, like the indie pass, or like, a pass that like really is just like, oh, well, if I want to play a backlog of games I haven't been able to get to, I can try them there, instead of like, okay, these are day one big games I want to play, which would be a big factor for me personally.
Well, I mean, that's one thing that they did. Another small victory that people are celebrating is it leaked that the Game Pass Starter Edition is coming, a new tier, and it'll launch alongside Discord. It's a Discord Nitro perk, basically. So basically, people who subscribe to Discord Nitro also get Game Pass Starter Edition, which is a new lowest tier, which comes with 50 games in the Game Pass library. Plus, you get 10 hours of the xCloud streaming, as well as the Discord Nitro. So the games, 10 hours of streaming, and the Nitro. And there's big games on there like Dishonored 2, Fallout 4, like all that. There's AAA games you haven't played them, Stardew Valley, Gears 5, all that stuff. But do we think this is a nice gesture for people who maybe think maybe $22.99 is a little bit too much, Ethos?
How much was it again? It was
at least $6.
Yeah, I mean, shit, $6.
Nah, Discord Nitro is 10 a month. They bumped it up. I'm bugging.
Nah, I'm good, bro.
So
this gives me Nitro if I have the Game Pass?
You said what?
So this gives me Nitro if I have the Game Pass?
No. You have to subscribe to Discord Nitro, and then you get the Game Pass.
Yeah.
And the Nitro's 10?
Yeah.
And I get this like starter, like kind of like older game backlog type thing?
Yeah. Plus cloud streaming.
Maybe, but I unsubscribed from my Discord Nitro because of that whole ID thing. I kind of boycotted and unsubbed it. So,
bullshit.
Yeah.
I feel like for like maybe like the ball and gun gamer who's on a budget, who's scared to try, because that's always their excuse. Maybe you said like they act like game reviews don't exist. Man, that's $30, man. I can't pay for that shit. Okay, well, what about 10 a month where you get a big catalog of games, plus you can play your ball and gun games? I think maybe just to get them out of their comfort zone, this could be a thing.
Yeah, but it's a good entry point as what I call starter. So yeah, I think it's cool.
True. When is it supposed to come? I don't know, but it leaked. What's the name? So keep an eye on it for when they officially announce it. They found it in the data code, so I think it's a 90% chance this is real. And then other news, Asha also said our presence on PC isn't strong enough. Pretty interesting quotes here. Players are frustrated. New features drop on console have been less than frequent. Our presence on PC isn't strong enough, she said. Pricing is getting harder for people to keep up with, and our core experiences like search, discovery, social, and personalization still feel too fragmented. Developers and publishers are asking for more too, better tools, better insight, and a platform that helps them grow faster. Then they also went on to say Xbox will be built to be affordable, personal, and open. We will offer flexible pricing so it's easy to get started and keep playing. The experience will adapt to you, letting you customize how you play, helping you find what you love, and connecting you with the right people. And we're open to all creators, from individuals to the largest studios, and giving anyone the tools to reach a global audience and keep their games growing over time. I agree with this statement. I feel like they're well, Asha is saying that their presence on PC isn't strong enough. They have the Xbox app on there, but like I feel like these companies severely underestimate how much PC gamers do not want to come up off of Steam. So in my humble opinion, I feel like, Asha, if you ever see this, if you really want more PC gamers to get involved in the Xbox ecosystem and you want them to launch that Xbox app, you have to undercut the competition, man. If Steam is charging, I don't know, 50 for fucking Expedition 33, you need to be charging 40. I don't know if y'all can take that hit. I feel like that, and even still, because Watt said that she's like, I don't give a fuck, I'm not coming off Steam. You still got the people that will not come off Steam. But if you want some people to come off Steam, I feel like you're gonna have to lower them prices a little bit, undercut the competition until at least you can build like a larger like audience. And I also feel like they don't do a good job of expressing what value is on the Game Pass. I feel like you'll get articles from like mainstream media saying, hey, here's the new games coming. But like, I don't feel like Xbox themselves do a good job of bigging up, especially like the smaller games. You might, like I said, you might get an article, but like, why not do like live streams? Like kind of how like Nintendo does with the treehouse bullshit, where like they really play these games for like hours at a time and they talk to their fans and like build some type of community. I remember with like the Major Nelson thing, like every week there was like a show. Somebody in my chat said they do like a weekly show, but I was like, it must not be that good because don't nobody talk about it. So y'all need a new host or something. Because right now I feel like as much value as the Game Pass does have, I don't think they are doing a good job of expressing it. What you think, Ethos, with the whole getting stronger with the PC stuff?
I mean, I can repeat what I said. Steam's got people by a chokehold. It's got them brainwashed. So honestly, I won't see anything in my lifetime. I think Steam will outlive us all. I just don't think there's any way, unless the only way possible is if Steam got revealed that it was surveilling all of its user base. And I think even then there'd still be people that say, I don't care, I'm still going to be on Steam.
I don't got nothing to hide.
Yeah. I seriously don't think there's anything that can happen at this point for people to ever turn their backs against Steam at this point. So I think it's time to just call it GG and just accept that you just got to get on board with it.
Damn, is it over, Jay?
I mean, yeah, I don't know what they can do, honestly. I mean, you gave a good suggestion, but I mean, we've talked about the Xbox app on PC. It's pretty bad. Going back to what Watt said, she mainly plays on the PlayStation controller, and she said she can't play on the Xbox Game Pass with her PlayStation controller, so she has to use alternate options. So that was one of the main reasons she was like, I'm not using it. I had problems with Xbox Game Pass just trying to download a game because there was like a weird glitch where like I couldn't download anything at all. It would just be stuck at 0%, and I had to like cancel it, cut the close the app, open it back up in order for it to jumpstart again. They fixed that recently, so shout out to them. But I mean, there's really no benefit to the Xbox app for me other than Game Pass, to be honest. So like it's been a pretty like monotone system. Like it just doesn't have that same appeal that Steam, or even like I would even argue like it doesn't even have the same appeal that like Epic Game Store or EA Play has. It's just kind of there. Like I guess join the if I want to get a stupid ass Xbox party chat, but who does that? Like, why would I do that? I can do it, but like, and there are like achievements there, but again, that's not enough for me to like go back or feel like I was back in the Xbox 360 days. It's just, I don't know. I just think people just feel like it's there and we just access it if we like need to play those one-off games that like I just don't have a Steam code for. If I don't have a Steam code and it's like, oh, it's on Xbox Game, I got an Xbox code, or it's on Game Pass, and I'll just download it there. But other than that, I'm just kind of just not feeling it. So yeah, I honestly don't have any real suggestions that will like help you all really, I guess, prove. I mean, I guess maybe just talk about it more. Maybe just say that it's there. I feel like people just don't know that it's there, period. So let's start there. Let's start advertising, because I remember when Ethos was first talking that real big Xbox Game Pass, I'm the bishop type shit. He mentioned that there was an Xbox Game Pass for PC, and a lot of people didn't even know that. And it was cheaper, like way cheaper back in the day. You know, they've increased the price, but it was super cheap. And that was the reason why I got it, because I was like, wait a minute. I was like, this is here, and it's been here for the longest. Y'all weren't talking about it. So I think y'all do need to spend a little bit of marketing dollars and let people know that, hey, like this is here, and we have this exclusive pass for you here, and it's been here for the longest, that you can buy instead of the Xbox Game Pass, because a lot of people probably still associate anything Xbox Game Pass as just the console only, and it's not. So start there, and then we can start thinking about other options.
You know what's funny is Xbox did do that. They had like a whole marketing campaign. I remember this because I was actually cracking a joke of like, yo, y'all should hire me. I'll wear the get up and everything. But I remember they used to have that thing with the I forgot what it's called, like the pointer, where they're like tapping the screen. They were doing that, and they were also doing I remember there was like commercials they did about like they called it PC Game Pass. And I remember, and they were like showing trailers of PC Game Pass. So I don't even think that's enough anymore. I don't know what it was, because I agree. I don't know, maybe it was just like they weren't showing the trailer at the right places. I remember I saw it on Twitch a lot of times for their commercials, but like they did try to like advertise and tell people that there is a PC component. But I think like a lot of people just assumed, oh, that just means it's on PC, not that it's a different, like cheaper thing. It kind of was just you can play games on the Game Pass on your PC, not that, oh no, there's a kind of what you're saying, there's a separate cheaper.
Yeah.
That's like, yeah, I think they should have done like biggest thing. Xbox is there's a reason why people to this day will always remember, was it $5 footlong, $5 footlong, like they constantly that about Subway, was because they drilled that into people's heads constantly, whether it's a jingle, whether it was right up, they kept bringing the price.
Still ended up with Jimmy's John at his mouth. Ain't that crazy?
Oh, man.
I mean, that's better than having a pedophile in their mouth, to be fair.
I mean, yeah.
Ace was ahead of the time, bro.
Still ended up with Jimmy's John in his mouth. That's crazy.
I'd rather have that than a pedophile in my mouth. That's all I'm saying. So,
boy, that's a classic.
Yeah, that's a crazy.
So yeah, they didn't do a good job, Ethos. They did it, but
like they were trying to market it, but I think the way they were trying to market it is they're just trying to tell people there's a Game Pass on PC, not, hey, it's $5. Like that's $5.
Here's an idea: get some gamers, get some younger people, like some Gen Z people who know how to use the fucking internet, and let them run that shit in terms of promoting your games. Because I do feel like Microsoft is just a little too corporate. They got to loosen it up a little bit. I think that's what made Major Nelson so cool. He was a little corporate, but like you could tell he played games when he did like his weekly show. Like they need somebody to come in and host something for them and really put their products out there. And the crazy part about it that I don't think they understand is that doesn't have to be expensive, bro. That's as simple as letting that person run that YouTube channel, give them a cameraman, maybe like a script writer or whatever, and just let them run the Twitter page or whatever, and let them run that 24/7. I don't feel like that would be too expensive for one of the world's most richest companies in the goddamn world. You're not asking.
Yeah, I got the money.
Hire some black people.
Ding, ding,
and
ding,
the
ding,
blacks
ding.
at Xbox, dog. They canceled it, bro. Come on, man.
You need to hire a group of black people to do that social media for you. I promise you, you'll see a change.
You need constant viral tweets that like just make people laugh and engage with your product. They're gonna be like, wow, these people are cool. Like, let me check out what's going on over on Xbox.
And then you know what? Get the guy that was making jokes about white people be like da 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 da, and make him do a video about the Game Pass. That's already boom, just off the dome, just right there. You can immediately get somebody off rip.
The white boys love Game Pass. Like, yeah, let me just search the game.
White boys love the Game Pass. Look at all these good games. Like, yeah, you just go for it, man.
And then last but not least, on the Xbox side of things, I found this one tweet that was going really viral. I just wanted to hear y'all take on this. This one person was trying to create, I don't know if this is a gender war or something, but he said Asha's already doing much more for Xbox than Sarah Bond ever did. And then he talks about the announcement of the price drop with the Game Pass, as well as like this rumor with the Discord Nitro thing. I have my take on this, but I want to hear y'all thoughts. Do y'all feel like Asha is doing more than Sarah Bond?
It's way too early. Come on now. I'm not jacking this.
Not
Come
even
on, man.
year
Black girl
one.
magic. Nah,
Yeah.
I'm not. This is more Sarah Bond propaganda. And y'all not going. I'm not jacking it, bro. Y'all not gonna have me opt in on this, bro. Like y'all really making it seem like Sarah Bond was like the worst human on the face of the earth. And I'm not rolling with it.
Yeah, I'm super woke. I'm going as far as to say this is actually anti-black, because I'd argue the reason why you perceive what Asha to be doing is more than Sarah is because she's the CEO of the company. She can, like, it should. This tweet should be you
Sarah
feel
Bond
like
was never CEO at the time, right? Phil had
Sarah's
not even-
never been. That's the point,
No,
and that's what I'm saying.
no.
This tweet should be you feel like Asha's
Yeah, Phil
doing
Spencer.
more
You
than
should look at
Phil
Phil
Spencer.
Spencer.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
you should
the
look at
point.
Phil
That's why
Spencer.
this feels anti-black. What the fuck does the vice president have to do with anything when she's the CEO? I'm like, this is some woman
never
that's
got
both
into
women.
the role.
Because they're both
Yeah,
women. That's
yeah,
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
both women, and it's anti-black. I'm like, get this the fuck out of here, bro. This is disingenuous as fuck. Go beef with Phil Spencer, bro.
See, this goes back to what I just said. I'm like, people are like, oh man, this is a huge W from Microsoft. No, it ain't. Asha did one potential good thing that we've never seen before, but I'm not just going to sit here and be like, oh man, she's a savior. She's going to bring Xbox back. It's a good faith gesture, but we got to see what's going on. Yes, she made, potential good faith decision early on, but don't be forgetting, man, as soon as she said that she's the CEO, y'all shit on her, talking about, oh, she's the AI chick. Don't forget, don't switch up this early. Come on now.
Y'all
Like,
was
we
ready
gotta
to hate on her.
we got to keep it grounded. Like, we came in here and said that, like, we don't know how she gonna be, but no, y'all hated this at first. And y'all said Asha ain't gonna do nothing. She does one good thing, and now y'all all on her, on her clit. No, I'm not jacking this, bro. Like, I mean, chill out.
Off breadcrumbs. That's
Yeah, bro.
I just checked the
Come
thing.
on,
Yeah,
man.
Sarah Bond, the highest she got was she was promoted by Phil Spencer in October 26, 2023. Bond was promoted to the president of Xbox, reporting directly to CEO Phil Spencer. On 2026 of February, Satya Nadella basically announced that Bond would be leaving Microsoft along with Spencer, and then Asha then took over as the next executive vice president, but she's now currently considered the CEO. I don't know how you could be executive vice president and chief executive officer, but I guess. But
Sometimes they can just
both, yeah, both, but
they'll do
she is
roles.
CEO. So yeah, I don't know why you're considering that, because isn't Matt Booty?
I thought Matt Booty's second in command now.
Yeah, I thought he's basically what
Sarah was.
Yeah, what Sarah was. Where is Matt Booty? I see he erased his little Wikipedia page.
Mm-hmm.
He heard I was talking smack about him.
Booty. Freaking. Either way, I definitely know that there's no reason to be comparing those two because they had different job titles, and I'm just like, that's just disingenuous. You just want to get a viral tweet off.
Page.
Yeah, he the executive vice president and chief content officer now.
This boy hiding his information. Why ain't nobody make a Wikipedia page?
So, but he reports directly to Asha. So yeah, he basically is in Sarah's role in a sense now.
Freaking how we feel about potential. There's a rumor floating around that the Venom spinoff game from Insomniac is canceled. This is coming from Miles Morales, his voice actor, confirming the news. It actually comes from a podcast where he gave an exclusive, and he was just like, yeah, he's like, I heard they got rid of that shit, but there's been conflicting reports saying that from, was it Jason Schreier from Bloomberg, saying that apparently Insomniac is still working on this. So what the Miles Morales voice actor is saying is not confirmed. It's a he say versus she say thing. I watched the podcast. I should have saved it. I watched the podcast and I listened to him speak. And honestly, he came across like there was nothing malicious. He was being honest. He might have genuinely heard that the game was canceled. But if you're not 100% sure on that, that's one of those cases where like you should just be quiet because you might get yourself blackballed. Because it could be a situation where Insomniac maybe decided to green light it again. But until Insomniac comes out and says something, it's a 50-50. It's a he versus she say. Do we care if it is canceled though?
Nah, to be honest, I'm not I'm not going to bet an eyelash if they did or did not come out with this game. But the thing here is they said allegedly it got canceled because Tony Todd died, and that has me more confused at the potential of it, because I mean, shout out to Tony Todd, I know him as Candyman, or Final Destination, but Tony Todd was an amazing actor. I definitely loved him in his movies, but unless he had like significant role here, again, which are going off of alleged, I was like, damn, usually things don't get canceled because of someone passing away. So again, if this is the rumor that we're rolling off of, then yeah, he would have had something super significant here, being the main voice actor of Venom. So that was interesting if they would have put him in the video game, because he's been, obviously the movie being a potential voice actor of Venom. So yeah, so that was an interesting thing to me. But just a game overall, I don't give a fuck if they cancel it or not.
Yeah, that section in Spider-Man 2 where you got to play as Venom, it was really cool at first. I was like, oh shit, you playing? And then the gameplay started and I damn near fell asleep. That shit was boring. It was very underwhelming. So like, if they do a full game for Venom, I suspect it would have been like Miles Morales. It would have been like an 8-hour adventure that barely changed anything from the formula. And I just personally wouldn't want that. So like, I don't really care if Venom gets canceled. What about you, Ethos?
I mean, Miles Morales was pretty good when they made that spinoff. I think like they did enough to mix it up. I'd argue it was better than Spider-Man 2, but that's not my business.
I know.
Don't you start. Don't you start.
In the defense of Spider-Man 2, I agree with you. I do feel like I enjoyed Miles Morales more, but it was because we were still coming off of Spider-Man 1. Because I'd also argue the reason I didn't enjoy Spider-Man 2 as much is because Miles Morales, I don't feel like it changed that much for Miles Morales.
That's fair. That's a fair point.
The game just shouldn't have existed, I think, with Miles Morales.
I think Venom wouldn't have been as compelling unless they got Eddie Brock into the pipelines that he becomes Venom. Because I don't think he's in... Is he in Spider-Man 2? I don't remember. Was he in it?
I don't remember.
I know the whole time they changed the lore so it wasn't so that his friend would have it. Why am I blanking on his friend's name? Harry.
Oh
no, Harry has it.
Yeah,
so Harry has it.
So no, he wasn't in there. No.
Yeah. So obviously like that whole, I feel like Spider-Man 2 kind of put a latch on that. Like the only way I could see it work is like they'd have to pick a new person to be in control of Venom, which could make sense. Like if it slips out somehow and then it finds Eddie and then Eddie takes over, they pick a new person to become Venom. I think Venom's popular enough to deserve his own game. I really do. I think he's a very popular character. So I don't think it's a question of like, I don't think he would have the same reach as Spider-Man. I think anybody would want to play a Venom game. But I guarantee you what happened is, my guess is you probably looked at that or X-Men, and I'm pretty sure you're like, yeah, I think we go for X-Men. I think they probably did some like internal testing or just hype to see what the vibes were. And I think a lot of people would have, if they see a Wolverine, like if you had a choice between a Venom and a Wolverine game, I think most people are going to push towards, I want a Wolverine game. So I think, and it's kind of that idea of, well, how much resources do we currently have? Do we have, maybe they thought like, okay, maybe we have enough resources that we can work on Wolverine and still have a smaller team make like what we did with Miles Morales. Because if you didn't know, the development time behind Miles Morales was miraculous. I think they got that shit done in like a year and a half. Like they were so
it feels
good.
Like it.
They were so good at because they did all that hard work with the first game that it was so easy for them to like come up with cool stuff and just immediately get like Spider-Man Miles Morales like off the ground really fast. So yeah, and then from Spider-Man 2, it took them
if they wanted to do Venom and it wasn't canceled, if they can't do Eddie, because Mary Jane's in the game, right? Yeah, because she yes. They could do.
Unfortunately, remember those missions?
Time for me to be a actually ass nigga. For those unaware, in the comic books, the new Venom is Mary Jane, so they could do her.
Oh, interesting. Okay,
I remember that got revealed, bro. The internet. I saw Twitter, bro. I even saw was it Beef where I think he predicted he's like they gonna do some shit like make Mary Jane Venom or something.
It was very random. People weren't really. It got mixed reviews. But if they wanted to, they could because they low-key already toyed with it in that second game when she did turn into that little evil symbiote demon thing.
The other ones, yeah.
So low-key she could be.
Scream,
Scream is actually its own character. I think like Scream has their own comic books. Because I saw a comic for Scream and I was like, oh, I was gonna get it because
I ain't trying to run around with the pistol with Venom and shit.
Hell no.
And also, I don't want to do discourse because that'll just be another discourse of Sony is killing off masculinity.
Women!
Yeah, we're gonna play another woman. I don't want to deal with that headache.
Yeah, I'm an incel by choice. Time for the lightning round. Rumors floating around from the first review that leaked early. The Steam controller will, according to this review, will cost $99. Anybody picking it up?
That's tough, bro. That's tough. Ethos, have you like actively used the trackpads on your Steam Deck for any games? Because I have not.
I used it for like some immersive sim games where like you had to open the inventory. I would quickly use that to like
I would say I can see it for like a Destiny inventory type of game where like you gotta scroll
a lot of
menu
quick stuff. Yeah. Or like if I wanted to play a strategy game, I feel like that's when I would be using the mouse. But most of the time I would probably prefer not to use it unless like I was in the desktop version, when you're in Linux.
I use it then. I use it then a lot. Yeah,
that's when I have to use it.
I feel like I would have to hold the controller before I pay that price tag. It does have Hall effect analog sticks, so like the analog sticks are pretty much built to last. But like I don't like how it's set up. Like I feel like everything looks like the Xbox controller except for the sticks. So I feel like I would have to put it in my hand and before I buy it to see if I like it or not.
Like the Steam Deck isn't bad, but I'm trying to picture it in the controller form and if I would like it in controller form. Yeah. But I've seen hella people, they were like, man, I'm not buying that. I'll stick with the 8-bit though, the one that you recommended, Ethos. Hella people on that controller, they love it. So that controller right there. Yeah, I've been seeing a lot more people praising that controller.
Only $30.
Yeah, so people are like, I'm gonna pass on this one.
I would controller prices make no sense.
I was just going to say, I went to Best Buy this past week because my PS5 controller is like, I've had it since like what, a year since it came out. And like those controllers batteries suck. Like now, like it can't even hold a battery charge. Like I have to constantly keep it plugged in. Else like the controller just says, I'm out of battery. And then it just dies. Like, literally like 20 minutes of me just having it unplugged. So I'm like, damn. I think I have to finally get this replaced. I walked into Best Buy. They talking about some $80 for a controller. I said, hey, what? I thought they were like $40. 70? I left. I said, I'll just stick with the controller. I'm not about to pay no.
That's more than a video game. That's more than a video game. Like, what are you talking about?
The tech is not, mind you, the PlayStation controller has not changed since the PlayStation 1 when they introduced the dual analog setup, whatever. It's been pretty much the same controller with slight changes. So what?
It's the haptic.
What's in the controller that warrants $80 dude? It doesn't make any sense,
bro. It has to be.
Man, take that shit out.
I gotta check to see if there's like a third party PlayStation 5.
There's not. That's the problem, bro.
And find something that's cheaper because
they don't license like that. One thing I will give Xbox, they license this game, sir, is $40. I bought this bitch 2 years ago. It is still rocking. I learned from this Game Sir controller. I will never buy another controller that does not have Hall effects analog sticks because these bitches they do not fall off, bro.
They don't break. Yeah, they don't. Yeah.
Break. So and it's only $40. It's cheaper than what the licensed Xbox and the PlayStation price. So like I was like,
that's insane, bro. Yeah, even though GameStop, I mean, $5 cheaper, $74.99.
Yeah, they're
like, what the fuck are you? What the fuck? Nah, bro.
You can't get even the Xbox ones. I was like, because I remember when I got God damn, I hate Trump. When I got my X, I had to get another Xbox controller because I broke the first one playing Sekiro because I kept spamming the.
That's how mine would mess it up, man.
It broke after spamming it to death. I said I gotta go, and I remember I spent like $40-something on it. I think it was like $45. I was like, that was like my limit. I was like, okay. I was like, this kind of sucks, but it's not terrible. I can do 40, 45. And now I look at it, and it's like $70. I'm like, that's fucking insane. I just can't justify that in my brain. I like, it's not that I don't have the money to pay. It's just like my brain just won't, I can't justify that in my brain.
I hate
how
that
old
going on for that.
Yeah. That's how much the elite controllers and like the try-hard controllers used to be. Those used to be 80, 90, $100. Now that's just the standard. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, that's tough, man.
Too rich for my blood. Battlefield movie in the works, being produced by Michael B. Jordan, Christopher McQuarrie. Anybody? Battlefield movie? Anybody? You told me to put this in the section.
Now, what I tell you?
This is the lightning round. I had this originally in the main section, but Ethan was like, man, get this shit the fuck out of here, bro. You don't watch a Battlefield movie?
Until it's a trailer, I don't give a fuck.
This is hilarious because we literally got the like Call of Duty and Battlefield are now going to compete with each other super screen too. Yeah, like come on, like I have the same opinion that I had with Call of Duty. Like what type of movie this is going to be? Battlefield has not. Well, they tried to, but like again, it's another situation. Which era are you going to go into? I don't understand. It's nothing that I asked for.
Oh, fun fact. If you didn't know, I'm gonna spoil this because I don't give a fuck. The movie that Michael B. Jordan did before Sinners, a little bit before Sinners, Without Remorse. It was like during the pandemic. It came out. It got panned. It wasn't that great. I would say it wasn't terrible. It was mid. It was the definition of mid.
Wasn't that the Rainbow Six one?
Yes. The ending spoiler is
I watched that one.
The ending is that it teases Rainbow Six Siege. That they bring.
Wait. What's the name of the movie?
So he might be involved too. Without Remorse. It's basically what you expect. He's a Navy.
Is that
SEAL.
a Ubisoft IP?
No, it's a Tom Clancy. So it's Tom Clancy because Tom Clancy,
okay.
Ubisoft, does that with Tom Clancy. But the whole story is that his pregnant wife gets killed at their house or something like that. And it's like some government cover up, and they were trying to kill him, and they failed. So basically, he goes on this whole thing to kill them. And then at the end of the movie, I can't remember if it's the president or somebody, but somebody comes up to him and says, basically like a Marvel thing, and says, "I'm putting together a team of elite operators." And I was like, hold on, I alluded to the meme. I was like, elite operators from around the world, and when he's like call sign Rainbow, and I was like, oh shit, we're gonna get a Rainbow movie. So now Ubisoft has nothing to do with it, I'm pretty sure, but it's kind of funny that Michael B is potentially doing Battlefield, and he might be also involved in a sort of
right, yeah.
I was gonna call cap on this movie anyway because I feel like because Michael B's like the new him and the other dude, Hispanic dude, they're like the it boys in Hollywood now. Like they just use him as like bait because you remember in 2020 when they announced that they was gonna do a Static Shock with Michael B. What happened with that?
That wasn't true. That wasn't real. That was fake news. That wasn't real.
This is fake news too. Battlefield game stories ain't that interesting enough to get a goddamn movie. Like I'm good off that.
Really make sure y'all go out and buy the Dakota Incident. They had a new
second printing. Yeah.
I just picked up the Static one. I'm waiting for it in the mail, but go and support that. Keep showing DC that they can't be doing these one shots for Black characters only on Black History Month. We deserve a whole year long, 2 year.
Well, not just that's not the issue. It's not just one shots. It's then when we don't get one shots, then we get 5-issue miniseries like Mr. Fantastic or whatever, or Mr. Terrific.
Where's Mr. Terrific's long ongoing
versus Batman has 1,000 issues and shit. It's good off that, man. Yeah. Toei announced they're going to start developing video games. They're going to start with PC games and expand into console later. Their initial lineup is focusing on original IP, so do not expect anything. And I mean, it could be anime styled, but basically don't expect a One Piece type video game. First project will be announced on April. They said 24th. Nah, this is off. Then they ain't announced it because I ain't seen it yet. But we know that they're working on any games. I've seen some people say that they didn't care, and I said this is great. I said, the fact that y'all don't care is exactly why the anime community deserves less. Not only did Toei come in and say that they are one of the biggest anime producers, they're going to come in and say they're going to make new games. They said they're going to make original games. And then y'all say y'all don't want it. I said, this is why y'all get Xenoverse 3 and sparking DLC 25 Gokus.
Just tell them it's Dragon Ball, bro. They'll be happy.
Yeah, it's got to be Dragon Ball. It's got to be One Piece or some bullshit. But nah, they said they're making original shit. I want to see more Scarlet Nexuses, bro. That was a good game. I take it neither one of you care though.
Because I mean, it just gives me PTSD. I'm like, are you gonna just pull the Bandai Namco formula, but it's just under you? Like, I just don't know. We'll have to see.
Fine. Well, how do you guys feel about the new Pokemon clone called Olympus Rangers? It's straight up so like fresh off the heels of the failure of Pokemon Champions. This game came out called Pokemon Olympus Rangers. Damn, this link don't work. Type it in. It's literally Pokemon Champions
Stadium, same thing. I saw this and I'm like, man, here we go again. Like Nintendo about to gear it up. Who makes this one?
It's an indie game.
Jangensoft?
You can like create your own rules and monsters and shit and import it in. I said, oh, they don't give a fuck about balance. Just do whatever.
Yeah, the one thing about it, I've seen people were excited about the potential mods here, but I mean, like again, this is animals or animals fighting each other, exotic Pokemon. So I just don't know. I don't know if Nintendo had this on their radar. They probably do, but I find it funny though that multiple devs are taking the shot now of making these types of games.
Right. Because I've seen some people making fun of this, like, oh, it's just a bootleg Pokemon. But in my head, I'm thinking, guys, the only reason these games exist is because what Nintendo has been doing has not been up to par. So people are going to try to take it in their own hands and try to cash out. And I can't be mad at them because competition is good.
Yeah, I ain't mad at that. So we'll see.
I saw the trailer. The cool thing about this one, though, is that they have full modding support, which means
that's what I said. I was like, you
put
can
Pokemon in there if you want to.
Yeah. I wouldn't do it, but yeah, you could technically.
That's where they're probably going to get hit with legal once, because that's what immediately is going to happen. They're adding all these tools that I think Pokemon like competitive fans have always wanted, and that like what you said, Pokemon Champions kind of been perceived as garbage. So this might be like the way that they're going to be like, oh, we're going to just throw mod our own stuff in. So I mean, it's cool. I like that. Any game that gives people cool mod capabilities. But yeah, that Steam Workshop's gonna get hit with so many DMCAs, bro. That shit gonna go crazy.
Far Cry TV series. It will not adapt any of the games, the showrunner says. And not only will it not adapt any of the games, there was a pretty interesting quote in here. I'm too lazy to find it, but so I'm going to paraphrase it because I read it already. But he says something along the lines of the reason they're not adapting any video games is because video games do not have interesting stories. That's why people tend to skip past the cutscenes. But he was like, with movies and TV, you can't skip past that. And I said, all right. I said, chat, this is a red flag. The other one, the Mass Effect story update, that shit was cap. Mass Effect one was cap. It's not true, but this is an actual red flag. This nigga said, I'm not even going to try to understand it. That says to me that he doesn't play video games, because I'm like, you think video games don't have good stories and that's why people skip them? Like, what are you talking about, bro?
This is exactly how we got to the point where people thought that any video game adaptation that turned into a movie or a series was ass. So, like, you don't need to go that route. Please don't go that route. Like, this is literally reverting back to that time, that dark period where any video game adaptation that turned into a movie was bad. Like, we're trying to right the ship, and we've been doing an okay job now bringing these video games to life in a series or in a movie. So please, don't do this. Like, I would love to potentially, and I know a lot of people may not like Far Cry 5, but I think that could be a potentially dope story turned into a movie, because I like that cult stuff. Like, I think that could be.
I actually do think that would be the best for like a TV show or a movie.
Yeah, that would be super fire. So, like, please, like, what are you talking about? I don't hit skip. I read faster, but I don't hit skip during these cutscenes. Like, what type of person are you? Are you a madman trying to play a story-driven game and you're just hitting skip past everything? I don't think the gamers are doing that. Like, I don't know where you got that from, but like TBA said, I don't think you a gamer if that's what you think is going on here. So you need to rethink what you said.
The good news is with the Far Cry TV series, although I do think it's a yellow flag, it is a series where
doesn't matter.
I don't want to say it doesn't matter. Maybe he should play the games a little bit. You don't have to beat them. I think he should play them a little bit. But with the Far Cry TV series or games, it's more about survival. I better see some drug use in it and like maybe like some type of cult. Other than that, like, yeah, you could play pretty loose with it. You could play pretty loose with it. Like,
its premise is usually like you are an outsider who's doing. But I mean, this premise has been used before. That's why it's like Far Cry. Even if you translate into a movie, it's like if you take the premise of what Far Cries have always been, it's not like Far Cry is some like truly innovative, unique premise, like compared to like some sci-fi film. Like it's not. It's just like some outsider enters into a location or setting that they are an outsider to, that has a hostile faction or something like that is actively moving against you, and you need to either find your friends or find allies or get to a certain objective that you need to get to. And I think that idea, it's different from Fallout. Like Fallout has like a lot of quirkiness to it and unique stuff. I think I agree with what you're saying, TBH. Like the only aspects of Far Cry that I think kind of, it's like Voss was very unique because of his character right now, who he was. So like, unless you are like bringing that together, does it really matter? Like if you're not going to do like a Far Cry with Voss, because I think he's in it, right? Isn't
or
he?
Blood Dragon, like you would need like that aesthetic.
But like,
other than that, nah.
It's like what you can do one in Africa, and that would basically be like Leonardo's like Blood Diamond movie. Like what's the?
Well, no, if they do one in Africa, they gotta give them malaria because remember in the second one, that's malaria.
And your gun got to jam every 5 minutes.
Pretty much. Yeah. Other than that, you can do what you want.
You can do whatever you want. Yeah, you call it Far Cry.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, you could just slap the Far Cry on anything and make it something. But yeah, like I said, if you're gonna do that though, I still don't agree. Like you need to. I still just didn't like that quote. I was like, that's very just Hollywood dismissive. I'm like, bro, can you just try maybe some of these games? You might have a different opinion. Right. Yeah, agree.
Splatoon Raiders dropped a new trailer, new game coming to the Switch 2. It is a spin-off of Splatoon. It's a story-driven game where you learn more about the lore of the Squid Kids. I'm going to be honest, I watched the trailer, and from what I saw, it was a lot of defend the computer missions. Not really doing it for me, but maybe for y'all.
Nintendo loves, they love islands, huh? Everything's on an island recently.
Who's ready to squirt?
Yeah, it's very interesting. This new environment that Nintendo is taking us in with all of their main franchises, their IP. So whatever. I've never been a Splatoon fan, but it's interesting. They're going single player now in this game.
I do feel like this would appeal to children just because of how vibrant and silly it is. But like to like just an adult gamer, I don't know if this is appealing to people. Like the gameplay didn't really move me. What about you? He's like, you don't want to, squirt at the computer?
No.
No. No. Get out this. Come on, Nintendo. I need y'all to put out some bangers, man. I need a reason to get that Switch 2. Resident Evil sold 9. Resident Evil 9 sold 7 copies in 2 months.
7 copies?
7 million.
Oh, okay. What? Why is it news?
Yeah.
Oh shit! I think
so. They said that that RE4 remake took a year to hit 7 million. And Requiem already did that in 2 months. So
yeah, I think it's the fastest selling in the series.
Damn, that's crazy, man. Capcom's year, bro. Capcom takeover 2026. It's crazy. I've been hating on them for 14 years, man. And look what they did this year. And they finally about to give me Onimusha. I really hope Onimusha does well. Everybody who's listening to the podcast, when that shit come out, bro, I want y'all motherfuckers to buy that damn game, please. Because I do not want to give Capcom any other reason for them to be like, oh, ain't nobody buy it. Everybody bought Monster Hunter. Everybody bought, y'all bought Pragmata. That's a new IP. Even though I love Pragmata, I love it. Again, no disrespect. But if Onimusha, y'all, what y'all oldest franchise y'all came out with in the era that I've been born, if that don't do numbers, man, I'm gonna be pretty upset.
And then when we get done buying Onimusha, we gonna get on Twitter. We gonna demand a new fucking what's the cartoon dude with the red helmet?
Beautiful Joe.
Beautiful Joe. Yeah, we gonna have some new Beautiful Joe too, Capcom. That's what we gonna do.
Might be possible.
They need to, man. They said they want Beautiful Joe. They want Dino Crisis. I'm not a Dino Crisis fan, but y'all can have it. But Beautiful Joe would be next on my list for sure.
Well deserved. Good game. One of my favorite games of the year so far. Well deserved with the 7 million copies. And then another one was Expedition 33 announced they have sold 8 million copies to date. I've seen some people saying like, that's it, game of the year. Guys, again, not only did this win game of the year and sweep the awards, it sold 8 million copies despite it being on the Game Pass. So if we really want to inflate these numbers, it really sold like fucking 16 million copies, bro, because a lot of people played this and didn't buy it, and then a lot of people played it on Game Pass and went back and bought it, because I know I did. I went and bought it. I was like, oh, this got to go in the collection, because originally I played it on Game Pass. So 8 million copies sold despite being on Game Pass is a fucking feat. What are y'all talking about, bro?
Yeah, that's amazing. But again, Steam DB watchers, man, they don't care about that. They're like, oh man, only 8 million. We don't care. Like, it's just so stupid, bro. They did amazing. That's a feat.
The other day before we wrap this up, I was in Siggy's stream, and he was playing Pragmata. I said, what the fuck are you doing? I was like, ain't you supposed to be on the Game of the Year, Crimson Desert? He said, I beat that game already. All right, bro. The 400-hour game, you beat it already? Or did you get tired of it? He said, no, I did. I beat it already, bro.
He lied because I saw him on it yesterday or today. He was playing. He wasn't done with it.
Yeah, you backed yourself into that fucking joke. Go ahead and play that Game of the Year, bro. It never ends, man. This shit's fucking funny.
Yeah, he came to my stream the other day, and he said I was ahead of him. I was like, bro, ain't you like spam past this game already? So yeah, he's still playing Crimson Desert for sure.
He said he beat it. Say it ain't so. That's all I got on the show notes before we wrap it up. Anything else y'all want to add?
Pragmata, it did beat what we wanted. It got over.
Oh yeah, we have to address it officially on the podcast. Yes, 1 million copies in 2 days.
Yeah. Oh yeah! That's right.
Congratulations, we did it. Yeah,
love to see it.
Capcom's gonna be all right, bro. I go as far as to say I feel like people are enjoying it more than I thought they would.
Yeah,
they are. Minus the discourse because he woke it up. He put out a tweet, man. I talked about it on the pod because you said on the last pod, you said that Diana's American VA voice is a black woman. And we looked it up and I was like, holy crap. And I said it on the last stream that I had. I said, this is crazy that people are getting mad, right? Because once again, they're saying that it's a DEI hire, right? And I'm like, here we go that bullshit again. So here's my thing. Every time I'm playing this game, the fact that I cannot tell, like my brain does not compute that's a black woman.
That's a great job.
She did a phenomenal fucking job. What are y'all talking about, bro? That means that she's a great voice actor.
But
like,
hold on.
Like they're always really good at that. Like like Riley and Huey, both.
And Huey, yeah, bro, amazing, bro. Nobody would have thought that. He would have thought it was some little boy.
But everybody had the same stance as you too on social media. That's the main thing everybody loves is Diana. She's such a great character until you found out she was black. Now she didn't deserve the job. Which one is it, bro? Did you do this shit? Now she didn't do a good job because she's black.
She was the Great White Hope. And then,
yeah, right. Yeah, they'll switch it up.
Gotcha.
The Great White Hope. Yeah, they hit it full for their face. Yeah.
But keep in mind, it's a robot, by the way. Like
it's Android. It's not
the best part is, I guarantee you, the voice actor, she has no idea this discourse is going on. That's just a job she did.
Probably.
No, what's funny is I did some research on her because I didn't know anything about it. I was like, what's your background? And because I was like, there's no way you're this good. You have to. And she hasn't done like any like major roles that I was aware of, but she used to be on that 13 Reasons Why. She was on that show, and apparently she played a character that was very an asshole, and she got driven off of social media because people got mad at the character that she had performed.
I mean, she did a really good job voice acting. Then,
so she left. I think it was like 2022. She got off of social media, and I think maybe she recently came back, but I don't know. That I just saw like a recent like interview of her thing. I was like, wow, like you're really like insanely talented because the entire time I played it. One, I didn't even know it was going to potentially even be a black woman. But two, my brain also, like, I thought this was literally a child, like some child actor that they had hired to voice Diana, because it was just like the inflections, like everything, like it sounds literally. If you close your eyes, like it has this weird oddity where like it sounds like a child, but at the same time it has this like grown up, like vibe to the way like the vocabulary. So like you have this weird like cool dichotomy where it's like I'm hearing a child, but it sounds like the intelligence of an adult, but it like she nails it perfectly. And the thing that I found like the thing that I hate about it is that I saw some people who were responding. So I'll respond to Cleveland tweet. There are some people that try to make an argument and said, and I hate this. They try to argue and I said the main point I was trying to make was you guys can't go and make a point there. If we rewind all the way back to the very beginning of how a lot of this happened, if you make an argument and let's say the original argument started with some people believed that the people that should play the character should be the same skin color for certain roles. And my personal opinion is I don't really care a lot because I grew up with a lot of people as kids. When I grew up as a kid, a lot of the kid shows that I watched had black women voicing white kids and stuff in the show, and vice versa. There were white women voicing other kids that weren't necessarily black. So it was a big mixture when I was younger. If you look up a lot of the voice actors who did a lot of the kid shows that we grew up with, it was like a mixture of people with races and different voices. Obviously, people have become more socially aware of these type of things, and I think the biggest example of when this like started to like this started to take off was when what was it called, that Egypt movie. It was terrible. It was a terrible fucking movie, but it was that Egypt movie where a lot of the actors were white, and people were like, this is in Egypt, you couldn't get some black actors to be the characters. Why are you like hiring white, like why are there white actors doing this? And then it started to reemerge again when I think it was Uncharted 4, the black woman. I think she was like the villain at the time. Nadine, she's voiced by Laura Bailey, who is not a black woman, but this is a black character. So some people made an argument, which I'm like, okay, maybe this is fair, maybe not. I have no race in it. Like either way, I'm just like, if you could get a black woman for it, that's cool. But I'm not like Laura Bailey still did a really good job with Nadine, because half of y'all probably didn't even know that wasn't a black woman speaking as Nadine. But the argument was that, hey, if you're going to voice a character, especially like South of Midnight, you should probably have a black woman voicing.
I was just about to say that. I feel like where you do draw the line is the cultural aspect.
The cultural aspect and the setting of it. I think that's where like you have to, like, for example, the whole that's why the Black Panther argument is asinine, where it's like, no, you need someone black. You can't put a Ryan Gosling that was the whole joke about it. It doesn't make sense. But in this scenario, literally you're dealing with an android robot. And the argument has always been what I'm saying is what you're trying to tell me is you care about merit. If your argument to why, if somebody says, hey, I think that a black woman, a dark skin, like some black woman should voice a black character. And your response to that is, oh, no, that's not true. I think the best person for the job should get the job. Then you have to be consistent about that point for that point forward. So you have to say, from now on, the best person should get that position. Period. That was your line.
I'd also argue that the people that are upset by this, it also says to me that they've never been around any type of black children, because like it says to me that you're so racist. You think black children are just born snapping their neck and just wearing do-rags and speaking a certain type of way. What's up, nigga? Like, no, if you listen to the average black kid, they sound like any other innocent, sweet kid.
So, and a lot of it is environment, right? Like a lot of it is the environment that you're brought up in. Like that's how accents come about. Like it's not like if you have a black kid who's in America in the South, they're gonna sound completely different from a black kid who lives in the UK. Was born in London
with locks and grape swishes and shit. Like,
exactly. So going back to that merit argument, I'm like, that's absolutely ridiculous, because none of us were in the casting rooms for the role of Diana. We have no clue how many people tried to get that role.
Had to be a lot to get that type of role.
Also, hold on. I thought white America respected and loved Japanese culture until they pick a black person. Then it's wait a minute. We do Japanese, man. Listen, we loved you until you picked that black. You don't know what you're doing.
No. Their argument is that Capcom's U.S. office did the localization for this because it's English, right? And they bypass what the Japanese.
They woke it up.
The thing is, it's a white girl. The android is designed as a white girl.
Stupid,
it's a Japanese
fucking robot, bro.
But that's what I said too. I was like, you gonna get mad at if you gonna get mad at a black woman voicing the white robot, then why do y'all get mad at the Japanese woman voicing a white robot? Because it's the same shit. I'm like, you're not gonna find an American woman who may know Japanese to do the Japanese part. That's just not gonna happen. Do y'all give a fuck? No, y'all only care when it's one way. That's why
I personally think she deserves at least a nomination for best voice actor.
Big motherfucking fact. Yes.
I just think it was another thing where it was funny. You had both the left and the right both mad at the game for different reasons. One side calling it, if you play this, you're a pedophile. And then the other side calling it. It reminds me so much of the Harry Potter thing. It reminds me, it's literally like the same thing where like both sides were mad at each other for different reasons about why they liked the game, they didn't. The left doesn't like it because of this, the author. The right side doesn't like it because it's woke, it's got black people in it, and you could be different types of languages and sexes and stuff like that in it. So you have both sides pissed and both people trying to push their certain agendas. And then like when you're just like a normal, regular thinking human being who just plays it, and then you realize, oh shit, a black woman did that. Oh, that's fucking sick. Like what I did, I was like, oh, I'd love to know what else she's done, because she's phenomenal. She's probably been in some stuff that I wasn't even aware of. I gotta look at her backlog to see what it is. But for people to be like, the whole psychosis of she was supposed to be our great white savior, and she was supposed to break the feminism, and women were gonna now have kids now and stuff like that. It's just
the great factory reset.
Yeah. Like
again, we can't enjoy anything, bro. We can't enjoy anything. But yeah, I'm pushing the agenda that I want her to win best voice actor now. Forget that. I want to be nominated at least.
I got one more thing because it wouldn't be a show without me talking about Marathon. I'm just gonna say this. We're not gonna go into it.
Why are they dead according to the Steam TV watchers?
Some stats came out about Marathon. Apparently, it sold the 4th most in the United States for a dead game. I don't know what's going on here. People are saying that's lies. It's fake data. It's not real.
Wake it up. Wake it up.
I don't know what's going on here. I think
only 20,000 are playing right now, though.
yeah. There's only 2,000 people playing the game, but apparently a lot of people bought the game through some point, or maybe the Steam database is not accurate to how many people actually purchased the game. It's not a good fact. It's basically, this is trying to tell you, maybe it's not a good factor you should be using to determine how much a game's been sold. So I don't know. That's all I would say. I just say there's a lot of Steam DB watchers. They didn't bring that news up. They still looking at the Steam count numbers and how
they've been a little quiet. I feel like the past couple of weeks, not really much to talk about.
Yeah, so you've been quiet. Yeah, you've been real quiet.
That's because they got to get ready for the next great war, the next great Concordian War.
Which is what?
I don't know. Whatever Sony's going to announce next.
There's mostly single player games coming out.
No, there's going to be.
It's going to be Horizon. Horizon, the next one.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, Horizon. Yeah, the Horizon stylized.
Oh yeah, they're gonna dump
Hunters.
on that too.
Yeah.
It's a live server. They're gonna.
Yeah, they already preempted it. They looked at the beta and said 200 people, 300 people.
It was a closed beta, super closed. Like
with limited times on it. Talking about this.
I didn't even get to play it because of those time zones. It was crazy.
I didn't get a chance to touch it. So
I did, but I don't think we're allowed to talk about it. So
don't shut up.
Well,
put it in the podcast.
That's all we got on the show notes. Ethos, you got the floor for closing statement for episode 187. Go.
Cade, listen to me. Nobody believes in you. What are you prepared to do about it? Don't let TBH come up in your house and talk smack about my team. Do what you gotta do today.
Well, Cade's not the problem. Tell Jalen Duran to show up.
I know Cade's not the problem, but I still need him to be he's got a hyper carry. Clearly, I don't know what Duran's doing. I don't know. But Cade, you gotta lock in. You gotta play MVP, best of the entire playoff series of your life, bro. You gotta get that ring. You gotta fight for it. Because clearly, most of your team is asleep at the wheel. They don't know what they're doing. We gonna have to slap them.
It's the magic, man. Paulo's been fucking basura this season, bro. I don't know, man.
I'm just saying. Okay. Singing suspicion. My bet. They struggle in this first one, and then for whatever reason, after that point, they get rid of the jitters. They just got jitters. They get rid of the jitters, and they just start coasting after that point. That's
we gonna see. You down 2-1. We're gonna see.
And I don't mean nothing. Y'all said that we were down 1 when last time. It don't matter, bro. They gotta win next game. If they don't win next game, then I'll be nervous. I'll be a little nervous.
Yeah. JG, closing statement, episode 187. Go.
I've been literally sitting up here dying that I haven't even watched playoff games for real so far, but I have been dying with all the narratives, Kevin Durant, Cade, and Orlando.
Hilarious. The Knicks, oh my God.
The Knicks, and losing to the Hawks right now.
Knicks do what they do, baby.
It's been hilarious. Boston, don't let Boston come through, bro, and win the East again, man.
They might, man. They might just blow.
I think Jaylen Brown should get MVP. I know that's controversial, but this man single-handedly carried his team to the fucking playoffs before Tatum got there. They said he couldn't go left. He started going left. This man's been averaging 30 and 10. He plays on both sides of the ball. I mean, I know it's not a sexy pick, but I just think he deserves it, man.
His only controversy. I like watching. The only controversy he had this year was a Beijing in his head. That was you talking about me having that was the only controversy. The nigga was going like this.
Oh shit!
So it's been hilarious, man. I've been laughing at y'all. Other thing though, I said it on the stream, man. I've been so stressed about the Rams, bro. Bring it back to football. I know TBH don't like to hear about it, but
what the hell's happening, y'all? What was the joke? I must have missed it.
We got a quarterback with our first pick at 13, and I was just utterly confused as to why.
Matt's retiring.
I did just see a video that the Rams is trying to build a big ass facility out here in LA,
another one.
Yeah, so a training facility with apartments on top. I gotta send you the video.
Because let's be honest, y'all don't even own where you play right now. They don't even respect y'all.
So far, everybody coming to our stadium, but I've come to acceptance. I gotta still rely on and believe.
So
in
does that mean
McVay
Stafford's done? Is that basically them saying Stafford?
We still don't know. He's on a year-to-year contract right now, so we don't know if we're gonna get 1 year. We don't know if we're gonna get 2. But they said at the end of the day, we had to draft our quarterback of the future, and they decided to pull the trigger now. So I didn't want him. I wanted Mekhi Lemon because I wanted to win now, but they already looking at the future. So I got to accept it. He's just gonna be our quarterback. But I just got to figure out what's going on with Stetson Bennett because he's still there. But clearly they don't believe in him. So it is what it is. But we on to next season, man. We on the next season.
And my closing statement for the last episode is a lot of your favorite streamers are fucking frauds. They're view botters. People getting exposed left and right. And Dan Clancy, the CEO of Twitch, you need to step down or something, dude. Like, I don't know what the fuck you got going on, man, because like I'm seeing a lot of tweets on social media of like different like brands and agencies saying that they don't want to work with streamers anymore. Like they don't buy ad placements from them anymore just because like the numbers are so inflated they can't trust whoever's at the top. And I'm like, yo, Dan, you do realize that's gonna hurt the platforms as a whole. That's why I say, if you stream, don't just stream on Twitch, stream on YouTube because they fucking the money up over there, bro. Do something about that shit. Get them out of here, bro. Everybody's cheating. Let the real rise to the top. That's all I got for y'all, though. If you made it to this far in the podcast, leave a comment saying, I don't know.
You're a real gamer.
Hashtag, are you a real gamer? Other than that, we appreciate you guys checking out the podcast per usual. Hit the like button as well as the hype button. Rate the show 5 stars, and we'll see you next week on the Game and Illuminati podcast.
Sausage fest is over.
Yeah, the sausage fest is over. Watch, we'll be back. I gotta go walk my dog. He's hitting me, so I'm gonna talk to y'all later. Peace.